What up, what up, what up, people? Happy Wednesday. I love our Wednesday show. What's up, Coop?
What up?
Man, we ended up doing a show on the anniversary of the passing of the notorious B.I.G. We have a whole lot to get to today,
Hmm.
but we definitely got to pay homage to Biggie, man. And it's one of those things, and I know it's cliche, but I remember the exact moment, you know, I remember everything that was happening around me when, I got the news. I got the news from, I think it was MTV News that morning. It was a Sunday morning. My parents were at church. Shout out to everybody coming in the room. Come on in the room. We talking about Biggie. We talking about Biggie, Biggie, Biggie. What up, Terminator 2? He wasn't the first person in the room this time. But yes.
Terminator.
Few seconds late. Yeah, everybody's filing into the room. Yeah, we talking about Biggie. But yes, man, it's been 25 years. I remember vividly that morning because I'm still a huge Biggie fan, but I was a Biggie fan then. And waking up, seeing MTV News, and they announced that Biggie had been murdered, man. And those are just one of the moments in life that you just never forget, man. Do you remember what was going on when you found out the news?
Hmm. I was actually out with. I was. It's actually funny. I found out both times about Tupac and Biggie passing actually via my mom when I came home from hanging out at night. So my mother broke the news to me both times about both gentlemen actually. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean the Pac story is a little different because again, Pac he was hospitalized for 7 days. I remember hearing that he had gotten shot. I remember hearing that on like Arnell Star. Anybody from Atlanta knows, Arnell Star was like a real local, kind of like what Cootie was for Chicago from the Kanye documentary. We had like American Rap Makers here in Atlanta, and it was like a local show. And I think he had played "Hit 'Em Up" or something, the video, and he was like, prayers up to Tupac, he'd just been shot or whatnot, and that was over some days. And then when we finally got that news, it was tragic, but the Biggie thing was so instant.
Hmm.
And a
I
lot of
thought Pac
people
was
in here
gonna
might not
live.
be old
So yeah.
enough to remember, man, but it was one of those things in hip hop. I feel like after Biggie's murder, hip hop was in disarray in '97, man. Like even if you go back and look at the albums that came out and sonically what was going on in '97, hip hop was all over the place. It recovered in '98. I think it kind of found its foundation again, but Biggie's murder really shook the game up.
Well, you want to know why? He was all over the place for the brief time that he was here.
Yeah.
And in a masterful and a brilliant way. I mean, I went on Twitter today and I posted what I thought what his 10 best mic performance is were on collaborations. And you're right. I left off the Tracy Lee joint,
Mm.
and I came up with 20 Biggie collabs that aren't on. You know what I mean? And most of them aren't even on his albums.
Well, let's go to some of the stuff you got on your list, man. You said your top big, and you did two different lists of 10. It was top 10 Biggie Mike performances, collaborations while he was alive. Number 10, you had Come On. Number 9, you had Flavor in Your Ear remix. Number 8, you had All About the Benjamins. Number 7, we got Get Money. You got number 6, I Love the Dough. Number 5, Players Anthem. Number 4, The What. Brooklyn's Finest at 3, You Can't Stop the Rain at 2, and Get Money remix at 1. Explain some of that.
Uh, I mean, I think some of this stuff I've actually already explained on the show. As far as the Get Money remix, I mean, for me, that's the moment where he just like started becoming like all time great and literally never stopped until he passed. And so that for me is always his standout guest appearance performance as far as on the mic. Not saying it's his most memorable. I'm just saying as far as his performance on the microphone.
He hit
That's the
another
one that
gear
stands
with
out to me
that.
because I can hear the improvement in somebody who's already great. You know, not too many people have done that. We're actually going to talk about somebody else who's actually done that. Very few people have come out to the amount of notoriety and fanfare and hit making that he has, and then followed it up with improvement as an MC and like all-time great improvement from an already all-time great MC. And the Get Money remix is the start of that for me. And so that's why I have it at number one. I think arguably, and you and I have talked about this, You Can't Stop the Rain versus Mike. I mean, just bar for bar, that might be number one. It might be not as impactful. It might be not as memorable. It might be because it's on a song with Shaq. But I mean, is he not like 91 Michael Jordan on that record? I mean, since it's Shaq on a record and we're making basketball references, isn't he 91 MJ? Like MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, dunking on your favorite center, like winning the chip, beating Magic 4-1. Like he's that dude on that record.
Well, you know what? I compare what he was doing on that Life After Death era and, beyond, because he was getting better and better and more refined as time, and that's what makes this even more sad. I compare it a little bit more to 96 Jordan, where he was a lot more controlled, and, he might not have been Air Jordan anymore due to, playing baseball or whatever, and just being a lot more, I guess, top heavy, for lack of a better term, because he had a lot more upper body strength for playing baseball. He was in baseball shape. But as far as like him being able to maneuver and being controlled and concise, that's what Biggie started giving us in around 97-ish. Like, it wasn't like he was so calm and snapping on these records where it's like Frank White, the Desperado, used to rock the all-black Movado, the all-black El Dorado, all that in a bottle of Don P. Well, it was like, I'm the rapper with clout everybody yap about. Check it out. Guns are bustin'. Problems with my wife, don't discuss them. Coops the lid, jets, I lust them. Fingerprints, dust them. Recent address. And it's like, yo, this dude is flowing.
Crazy.
And it was effortless, too. And it wasn't like he was going on there, rhyming all this stuff,
Well, no. Well, this is what I want to say is beautiful about it, is that nobody from the East Coast was really talking tough like that, but making it sound smooth. Like he was making it sound smooth and cool the same way Snoop was kind of making like the gangster stuff sound cool for the West Coast. It's like you brought it up. That's why it's so epic. Yeah. Guns are, that's the part too, Mike. Guns, I bust some. Problems with my wife, don't discuss them. Coops and Lear jets, I lust them. It's like, okay, this guy's bananas. He's everywhere. He's doing everything, and he's doing it effortlessly.
Now, people are mentioning the B-side with the Brat. What were your other 10? What was your other 10? I want to know what your other 10 is, because people are,
I'm trying to pull it up on Twitter because to be honest with you, Mike, I don't even think I wrote it down anywhere. I think I just like went off the head like I be doing sometimes. But I can tell you off the head what I have on there. I have the B-side by the Brat with the Brat. I have Notorious Thugs on there. Can't You See would be on there. Only You would be on there. Dolly My Baby is gonna be on there.
I got it if you want me to go through it.
Yeah.
Okay, so his next 10 was Can't You See, right? Was that was 10 total?
I didn't even yeah.
Because I see You'll See. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, You'll See. No. That was the Locks and Bad Boy. Like, remember that?
You didn't even put Can't You See on here. Okay, so we got You'll See.
On there too.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so You'll See is number 10. The B-side is number 9. You got What's the 411 remix, number 8. Number 7, Last Day. Number 6, Only You. It's the 112 record. Number 5, we got Dolly My Baby. That's the Super Cat joint. Number 4, yes, you got Can't You See. Number 3, you got Young G's. Number 2, you got Victory. And number 1, you got Notorious Thugs. Listen, man.
Hold on, can I say something right quick?
Go ahead.
I would put the Tracy Lee joint in instead of the You'll See I would put the Tracy Lee.
I mean, you just named 20 joints that weren't even his, that this man has that are timeless. Like, and we talk about Big having 2 albums and not being qualifiable. It's not many people we can say with 2 albums that have that level of output on 20 records that ain't even on a Biggie record. Well, yeah. Notorious Thugs was on there, but
Notorious Thugs and the What?
And the
What?
What?
The songs I think that were his that went on his albums, I think. Of all the records we went through.
Yeah.
All the other songs that we just named belong to the other people. That's what I mean about
it's phenomenal.
Everywhere, and he was great at it. He didn't even need these joints to put on his album for him to be all-time great.
He could really do a versus with these. And the man doesn't even have to play his own stuff, and he's been gone for 25 years.
hold on, and think about this. The What and Notorious Thugs are really the only songs. And think about this. He made two of the best rap albums of all time, too. We didn't even go through any of that material really outside of the What and Notorious Thugs. And the What and Notorious Thugs are probably not even like, I love the What. The What might be a top 5 song on Ready to Die, but Notorious Thugs isn't a top 5 song on Life After Death.
You know what makes it very, it makes it very problematic for people who weren't there when we talk about Pac and Biggie being top, whatever. But we have to understand that even people who outlived them, were around before them, after them, had careers after them. You'd be very hard pressed to find people who have catalogs that match up to what they were able to do in that short period of time. Now, again, let's just say Biggie does live on, and he only gives us one other quality album, and he gives us duds, right? Let's just say that happens. Even based on that and this output, that's still enough for him to be top 10. He would have to fall off an incredible cliff to not even be there. And I don't know. I can't see that happening because it didn't happen, but it's hard for me to sit here and put many people's catalogs over him. Like, I don't like calling people out in situations like this, but Common has a picture that he always posts with Biggie, right? So I don't think Common would be insulted by this, right? Common's had a long, illustrious career. But if we matched up his records with what Biggie has done, it's very hard to sit here and say I'm going to put Common over Biggie, even though I think, and I use Common as an example because on a skill level, I think he's at that skill level that Biggie was at. But Biggie did something different from a song-making perspective.
His songs are just too much to deal with, Mike.
DeCarlo says, show me a better 2-album run. Forget 2-album run. Show me somebody who did more with 2 albums. Period.
I mean,
if we cut somebody off,
it's Rakim and Big in terms of that.
If we cut somebody off after their second album, do they have this much material to go on?
I mean, if we're talking, like I said, Rakim's first 2 albums is probably the only thing that's comparable to it. It's a different climate, so the album's not as long. And he obviously doesn't have the guest appearances. But if we're just going impact on the songs that you find on an album, you could say that about Paid in Full and Follow the Leader and probably nothing else.
Let me get to some of your other tributes for Big. You said top 5 Big stories. And I did an article a couple years back on According to Hip Hop, the top 10 Biggie storytelling songs. You had Me and My Bitch at number 5.
Love that record.
You got Somebody's Gotta Die at number 4.
Mm-hmm.
You got I Got a Story to Tell at number 3.
Mm-hmm.
You got Warning at number 2. And at number 1, you got Niggas Bleed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to ask the people in the chat, what are some of your favorite Biggie songs? What do you think is his best mic performance, period? And I was going to ask you, what do you think is his best mic performance?
As far as one verse or as far as like song?
Both.
I think his best mic performance from end to end is actually my favorite song, which is My Downfall. I think all 3 verses on My Downfall or all 3 verses on Kick in the Door are probably his best mic performances. So I would take My Downfall or Kick in the Door. Because those are 3 verses of just like, it's like there's not much you can say after he's done rapping, you know? And for totally different reasons on the records too. And that's what I mean. It's like Kick in the Door is on some like Give Me My Crown title, like classic boom bap, like King of New York rap shit. And My Downfall is eerie and foreshadowing and brilliant and dark and haunting and frightening.
I see a Suicidal Thoughts in here. It's my favorite song on Ready to Die. That's what DeCarlo says. Speak Your Clout podcast says unbelievable. Jermaine Young says unbelievable. Chico Peterson says unbelievable. Well, let me get to your top 3 premiere tracks. Coop also ranked Biggie's premiere tracks ranked in order. He got Unbelievable at 3, Kick in the Door at 2, and 10 Crack Commandments at 1.
So can I explain? Hold
Go
on. So
ahead.
can we talk about that? Because a lot of people feel like Biggie's best mic performance is unbelievable. I think a lot of that is nostalgia, though, Mike. Just honestly, because I can remember that time. Nobody rapped on a beat like that before, really, and so that's part of what's so memorable about it. Nobody literally was rapping flow or delivery wise like that. When I mean nobody, I mean nobody, and so it stands out. But that guy that's like on Kick in the Door saying that starts off rapping like your rain on the top was short like leprechauns, like that guy different. Like that guy can't be fucked with at all.
Well, you
Except
know
for
what? I have a
88 Rakim or 94 Nas.
I think personally, because, and it's interesting you say that because when you listen to Ready to Die, you could tell Ready to Die was recorded through different phases of his development. Um, I think his most, I won't say best mic performance, but most impressive mic performance to me is the One More Chance remix. Like, you don't even realize how awesome his verses are because of how well it just flows with the song. You know what I'm
So
saying? Like that first verse just goes, and it's like, yo, that's possibly a quotable.
no, it is. You want to know it? So I have One More Chance, like up there as one of his top five mic performances, actually, Mike. And it's funny that you say that because everything that you said about the record is exactly why it's one of the all-time great mic performances. It's like, oh, he's got you before you even know that. Like his spit game on there is not just like great. It's all-time. First things first. I pop a freaks
And
all over.
everybody knows all the words to it
He
too.
knows every single last word. Like it's very how about
Snoop
this? It has
S,
a very dog. I was about to say very doggy stylish. Yep. Yep.
Dummies, Playboy Bunnies, those wanting money. Those are ones I like because they don't get Nathan, but penetration, unless it smells like sanitation, garbage. I turn like doorknobs, heartthrob, never black and ugly as ever. However, I'm like, yo, he is just going, and you don't even realize that he's spitting to this level because the song is so smooth. You know what I'm
It is
saying?
because you're just nodding your head.
Yeah.
You want to know what it is? It's like about halfway through the second verse when his flow starts switching up and getting like super wicked. You're like, oh, hold on. You're like, hold on. I'm missing big. I'm missing big. Back it up. Back it
I
up.
mean, I
I'm
remember
missing.
when I was a kid. I mean, because the video was incredible with the cameos and all that. I think when I really started realizing that he was flowing was that there is major pain like Damon Wayne, low down, dirty, even like his brother Keenan scheming. Don't
That's what
leave your
I'm
girl.
talking
And it's
about. Where he starts flipping
like,
it. No, that's the second verse. That's where he starts
yeah,
flipping it.
you ringing bells with
Scheming.
bags
Don't
from
leave your
Chanel,
girl
baby
around me.
Benz.
True player for real. Ass puff dad D. You
Ringing
ringing bells.
bells with bags
Like
from
that's
Chanel, baby
like
Benz.
three different bar switches, three different flow switches, and about like 6 or 7 bars on a hit single. On a hit single. In his flow game, he's just like, nope, I can do, hold on, slow it down. Hold on, bring it back. Hold on, let me weave around the corner right quick.
And you know, again, I don't use these opportunities to praise one MC and shit on another, but when you look at how he was able to hold that song down seamlessly, we didn't want to hear anybody else on that record.
No,
We don't know if an Andre 3000 can do that. We
I don't
just
know.
don't know.
I
We
don't
don't
need to hear.
know.
I don't need to hear a remix or a redo of it by anybody either. Like, because they can't.
Yeah, it's like it's his three
It's on
verses.
record.
That's all we need. And honestly, as much as I love Kendrick as a lyricist, I don't believe he could do that. I know in that time period, Jay couldn't do that. I don't even think Nas could do that in that time period. But there were some things that Nas could do that Biggie couldn't do. So that evened them out. You know what I mean? But
This
it's
is what I'm
just
saying.
incredible,
So
man.
he's got other great mic performances. Everyday Struggle, Who Shot You, 10 Crack Commandments, You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. These are solo missions.
He was spitting on Big Papa too. Yes, thank you, DeCarlo. Like these are straight up
Yeah.
solo missions that we didn't want to hear anybody on. Him and Pac were great for that too, and I think that's what a lot of people who weren't there for it don't understand. We weren't looking for them to have anybody on the record, really. I mean, him having Method Man on the What was a bonus.
That was a big deal. How does the One More Chance remix end?
Yeah.
With the what playing?
Yeah, I remember from that video, I was like, yo, that's my shit.
It's my jam. Yeah, it's the what.
Let me
Yeah.
get to another, because you did a few more tributes too.
Yeah, they're
You
playing.
got what am I missing? What am I missing? Oh no, I think I got them all.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very impressive, like what he was able to do just in that small period of time. And honestly, to some degree, I think that makes his impact even greater. And I know for some, they feel like, his legacy is bigger because he's no longer with us, but Biggie's not the only person we've lost in hip hop. And so his records have legs that other people who had a untimely demise just don't have, and that's just the fact of the matter. People are still rattling off records. I see Victory in here, and Victory is another one, man, where it's so sad to me because you can continuously hear that he's getting better and better, and I hear that was the last verse that he recorded before he was murdered.
Used to call me Fatso, now you call me Castro.
Yeah, I think it was the night before the Vibe party.
That's crazy. Like,
It
I
is
mean,
crazy.
all about the Benjamins remix. Like that, them bars, them last sets of bars are just like, ain't nobody. I mean, that's '97, right? Like, I mean, so who's rapping better than those two verses on Victory and All About the Benjamins in '97 lyrically?
That's
Just
real.
overall.
Now I
All
know
those two verses, who's better? Definitely not Nas with the Firm.
none of us can tell the future or anything like that. I know we don't have Leroy Green in the room yet. Miss Mo says, happy birthday to AZ. Yes, happy birthday to AZ. Happy birthday to Chingy. Happy birthday to Bow Wow. And happy birthday to C Murder. It's a busy hip hop day. I know we don't have Leroy Green in the room, but people often ask, what would Jay-Z's career look like, if Big would have, stayed around in his prime?
I'm the one that's been asking that question. That's me. That's me.
What do you think Jay-Z's career looks like?
Well, well, how can it be what it was when I've said this? The only thing that I could give you that Jay has over Big that I can see is that he's probably better lyrically.
Mm-hmm.
That is not enough because, hold on. What if I were to tell you that the only thing that Eminem has over Game is that he's better lyrically? Would that be enough?
And not in my book, and we're about to get to
Right.
that as well.
So why would that be enough for Jay? Because does Jay have a better voice than Big?
No,
Is he a
definitely
better
not.
storyteller?
No,
He has a better delivery?
no,
Bigger records? Better
no,
guest appearances? Where?
no.
What, better street records? He doesn't have better street records. But Big made Who Shot You in the 10 Crack Commandments.
You have a good point.
So when you're saying where would he be, it's just like, well, I don't know where he'd be. He wouldn't be who he was, though. But that's always why I've had him at number 5 appropriately, because I was there live and I just can't in clear conscience ever put him ahead of Big, because Big's catalog, it still speaks to this day. It's still enough. Like, Jay still hasn't made something that equates to One More Chance as a hit record for as much as a hit maker has he been, correct?
I don't think so.
Where's One More Chance at? Where's Jay's One More Chance at? Damn, where everybody else's One More Chance is at. Where's Jay's One More Chance at?
What is Jay-Z's biggest song? And I know we talked about this before, and a lot of people would say The Hard Knock Life.
Hold on, if that if I Rule the World shit with Nas ain't gonna cut it up against One More Chance either. No, it's not.
No, he doesn't. In my personal opinion, and I'm a Jay-Z fan, and I think Jay-Z is top 3, no matter how you slice it. I guess top 3.
Hate me now or give it to me. No,
Jay-Z doesn't have a better song than One More Chance remix.
No,
in my opinion, it's talking about what I'm saying, as far as hit songs, and we could possibly dig and say, okay, well, I like Dead Presidents more, whatever you want to say. But when we talk about songs in that lane, no.
Right, that's what I say. Here's how great Big is. You would have to go to Jay and Nas's street joints to beat One More Chance, because none of their hits is gonna do anything to that. It's like, oh, that's cute. One More Chance.
Okay, this is what I think, because I feel like Jay-Z's the type of individuals that would have made it no matter what, right? I think it might have ended up being a back and forth to some degree. I'm talking about on a battle tip, because Jay wanted that spot. Either one or two things would have happened. Either Jay would have taken more of a business approach early, and tried to kind of get behind and partner with Biggie on something, like on the Un situation, because they were gonna do the commission, and that was gonna be on another label supposedly. I could see them partnering up in that way. But as far as like musically, where Jay would go direction wise, I think he would have stayed more in that Reasonable Doubt pocket and made more street records because Big had that lane sewed up. I feel like when Big was no longer here and he passed, Jay felt the obligation to fill that lane. So I think he would have been a major player in hip hop regardless, but I don't think he would have been as dominant in New York and especially Brooklyn. Like Brooklyn had their representative and it was Big. He just got there first, you know? And he was doing it huge. He opened the door for, Jay to come through and do what he was doing.
And you have to look at Jay's hunger in the situation, because here's the thing people forget. Big is out before Jay in about 3 or 4 years his junior, too.
Mm-hmm.
There's at least a 2 or 3 year gap between them in age, if I'm not mistaken. Like Big might be 24, 25, Jay might be 27, 28, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So he's watching a younger dude from his borough right around the corner pop too, like on a major level. So yeah, it ignited his competitive spirit. And I say all this to say, I only have Jay one slot behind Big on my all-time list. So it's not, you know what I mean? It's not like I feel like he wasn't going to be, all-time great. But as far as like that greatest of all time stuff, I don't think that conversation would be happening as much so often had Big stayed alive. No, because I think we'd be talking more about
Jay,
Big in that regard.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I just think we'd be talking about more Big. And when we talk about Nas and Jay, like, I feel like we would really be talking about Nas and Big if Big were here.
I think Jay would have taken more of the grimier route. Somebody in the chat said that. I think that he would have continued on that The Evils, politics as usual, can't knock the hustle, that type of route. Because honestly, while Big was here, he was great at making those records. You know what I'm saying? And he honestly could do those records Big was able to do both. Yeah, but he was a little bit more lyrically intricate with those type of records where Big was more about feeling. Because You're Nobody to Somebody Kills You is chilling.
So, okay, so that's exactly what I was about to ask you. So let's go to 97 Hove and 97 Big right quick, because I don't care what you say. Like Jay-Z in 97 is lyrically just as strong as he is in 96 on Reasonable Doubt. If not, his delivery is better.
Right.
So what's the most chilling song from Jay? I would say that's Where I'm From, right?
Yes.
Put that up against You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You, or My Downfall, or Long Kiss Goodnight.
I would say either that, Streets Is Watching, Imaginary Player, something else.
But that's what I'm saying. Put Imaginary Player up against something like, we can go to What's Beef. You know what I'm saying?
This is the thing. Skill-wise, yes, 97, they were comparable. But Big's like song-making ability was just on a whole nother stratosphere from everybody. But especially from Jay at that point. Like Jay just hadn't caught up to him at that point. Like you said, y'all was grimy in the early 90s. Far behind me. It ain't hard to find me.
That's what I'm saying. If Jay plays Imaginary Players, what if Big plays like Kick in the Door, 10 Crack Commandments, over? That's what I'm saying. It's like that.
No. I mean, as side by side, and we talk about the music, in 97, it wasn't even comparable.
Right. Shoot now. And Imaginary Players still might be my favorite Jay record. It's just not better than 10 Crack Commandments. It's not.
I don't know. I like Imaginary Player more than 10 Crack Commandments. I'm not as high on 10 Crack Commandments as you are.
There's nothing about, like, I get what you're saying, because you might feel a certain type of way about Imaginary Player, but the beat's not better, the concept's not better, rhyme scheme's not better, delivery's not better, the guy on the mic's not better. It's like, well, what's really better?
So what would you say to somebody, well, possibly a younger person, because I've had these conversations, that feels like Biggie can't be one of the greatest because he only has 2 albums?
He just did, how about this? And he would be the only caveat. The amount of work that he did was so brilliant in such a brief amount of time. We just cannot ignore it. We just cannot ignore it, because ignoring it and ignoring the contribution of it is literally taking a big moment and piece of hip hop away. And that's why he is where he is. Listen to the guest appearances we just named.
And he was game changing.
We just came up with, like, we named 21 songs. 19 of them were guest appearances.
Now, we were working on a project, right? And we still are going to do this project where we're breaking down many hip hop albums. And when you start doing a lot of your research on Life After Death, I think it was you that brought to my attention that Life After Death changed the way people made hip hop albums from there on after, at least for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Like, you had to have this type of song or that type of song, or where you had to had to be very versatile with your topics, beat selection, et cetera, et cetera. And you can hear all those things in Life After Death. And I'm trying to think, was there a turning? Because even if we look at All Eyes on Me, right? All Eyes on Me, we could tell that was a Death Row compilation thing. So people weren't going to try to duplicate what they were doing. That was Death Row. That was all their sound. But with Life After Death, Big had sounds from everywhere. He had a More Money, More Problems over here. He had a Effing You Tonight with R. Kelly. He had a What's Beef. He had, Notorious Thugs. It was like he showed you every element, and everything that we heard from thereafter from many of the big people in hip-hop mirrored that.
But there's a competitive level to it. And this is what I'm saying about if Big was here, it'd be like a Nas and Big conversation. How did Primo end up on Ready to Die? Illmatic. Right. So what's the main reason that It Was Written got made? 95 Source Awards, big sweeps with Ready to Die.
Ready to
Nas
Die.
comes back with something more accessible. It Was Written. Sells almost 3 million records. Biggie comes back with, I don't know, more gangster mafioso stories that, coincidentally enough, just the same topic matter and subject matter that's on It Was Written. These guys were going back and forth and kind of inspiring each other. And what Big really did with Life After Death is he upped the ante, is because he kind of took what Nas did with Illmatic in terms of picking an array of producers like Nas did on Illmatic, because he didn't get to do that on Ready to Die.
I mean, even the baby picture on the cover, and the fact that we find out years later that wasn't even Biggie as a baby, it's like, damn, that's really biting.
Right, but what I'm saying is that he took the style of how he put the project together. Is like, oh no, this time around, I'm going to go pick my producers like Nas did on Illmatic, but I'm going to apply the Ready to Die formula with a whole set of producers this time. And so I'm going to have a street record, and then I'm going to have a hit record, and then I'm going to have a street record, and then I'm going to have a hit record, and I'm going to have different producers coming in.
And I can do it all. And I'm going to have a record over here with these guys from Cleveland where I'm doubling up the flow.
Why not?
All right, man. Rest in peace to the great Biggie Smalls, man. We got to move on because there's a whole lot to talk about this show. I guess I want to start with the fact that the Game got on Drink Champs and said a whole lot.
That's what I heard.
Shout out to everybody in the room. We got a bunch of people in the room. The Game got on Drink Champs and said a whole lot, but one thing that really stood out was the fact the Game said that he is better than Eminem and that he would beat Eminem in a versus. He said he even dialed back to, I guess, one of the previous interviews that someone did of him, like maybe 10-something years ago. People keep pulling it up where he said that nobody wants to with Eminem. You know, the thing that all the rappers say, right? Blah, blah, blah. And so he said that I used to think Eminem was better, and now I say I'm better. Whatever. So, I kind of went out there and gave my thoughts on it on Monday, put it out on the channel because, I know we were waiting to do our show on Wednesday. I didn't want a topic to get stale or whatnot. And Eminem fans are coming at me because I agreed with the Game. I feel like Game, we'll get into all the particulars of it, but I want to read this one comment that was under that post. I was labeled a racist because I agreed with Game, but here it is. I'll put it on the screen. A gentleman named Grimy for Life says, first of all, Mike D is a racist. I've listened to enough of his BS to call it like it is. He is so proud that the game stood up to Eminem when so many others wouldn't, and it is obvious that he means other black rappers. He acts like Eminem has no reason to be as famous as he is, except for being white. Maybe Mike D should admit that other rappers don't step to Eminem because they know that he is top tier skilled, and the ones that do are clout chasing. I get tired of hearing the excuse that M's record sales don't count because white people are supporting him based solely on his skin color. Guess what? Guess what? What race do you think is buying most of your favorite rappers' records? Yeah, white people. Not to mention that there are plenty top 10 rappers that say that Eminem is one of the best to ever do it. Go Google it. Also, it's funny how Mike D acts like a versus isn't about popularity and hit records. Eminem has at least 20 records that most people can name off the top. Without Me, Lose Yourself, My Name Is, Stand, Till I Collapse, and on and on and on. Go out in the streets and ask people to name their favorite Game record. They would be lucky to name 2. And those are probably old hits with G Unit. Eminem is the most popular rapper in the world, black, white, yellow. It doesn't matter. Deal with it. One more thing. It would be nice if Mike D at least knew Eminem's catalog. It is always interesting to hear negative opinions on Eminem's talent when those people clearly only have heard his radio records and figure everything else he has done is just rapidy rap. Mike D needs to stop. His ignorance on Eminem is laughable.
You want to go, Mike? I mean, you need a break. You want a moment? You want to get a drink of water right quick? There's a nice long diatribe. Go ahead, take you a break. Take you a breather.
Well, first of all, I want everyone to know that. Well, you know what? First of all, I think it's important to say I never mentioned anything about Eminem being white. I never do. I never do. I think that's first of all. And in the video or whatever, I just talked about music. I never mentioned anything about Eminem being white. So, pulling the white card, if that's even a thing, I think is very ill-advised because I never mentioned race in any of this. But one part of here was that stuck out to me a lot, right? LP said, "Oh, racist ass Mike." Right. I'm on the wrong. Okay, listen. One part that really stuck out to me is when he said, all right, Mike D should admit that other rappers don't step to Eminem because they know he has top tier skills, and the ones that do are clout chasing. So you're telling me that if you don't step to Eminem, you're scared, but if you do, you're clout chasing. What's going on, man?
What are we doing? Okay, so when I hear people talk like this, and I'm not going to try to give it too much weight, but it's just like, the entitlement that like white people feel like in just every spectrum in sphere sometimes is surprising. Mike really doesn't bring up Eminem's whiteness. Now, I'll tell you who does bring up his whiteness. Oh, that would be me. I be bringing up his white ass.
I don't. And the reason why I don't, because I know that's a convenient cop-out. Because as soon as you say that, then the conversation goes left. And we're not talking about music anymore.
No. I talk about his whiteness. Mike doesn't. But what it is that you show, your level of entitlement when you bring up his whiteness without us even mentioning it at all. So it's like you kind of like show your face and kind of like show your card and show who you are in the process of doing this diatribe. So like I hope you're watching today and like paying attention to like your own habits, because it's like now we see who you are clearly. So you might want to change that YouTube name and come up with something more creative. Like, I don't know, Leroy Green. And Leroy Green, I'm going to find out who you really are, Leroy.
Grind me for life.
We can move on,
Shout out to KD with the super chat. He said, Eminem has been garbage for 15 years. Game has been dropping better music for a while. Let's be real. A lot of rappers are better than Eminem now. And you know what? And it's interesting you say it like that, Eminem now. Like, in my personal opinion, a lot of rappers have always been better than Eminem. And Eminem that we talk about in his prime, musically, he wasn't clicking on those cylinders. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he could get on a record like The Sway and Tech, do his thing and stand out on the anthem is what I'm talking about. But when it came down to his individual material, I can't sit there and say that it stood next to the Supreme Clientels or, you know, even the Like Water for Chocolates or the Bees and the blueprints of its day. So I think that part of it's ill-advised too. But yes, if we're talking about from 2002 on, it's not even a conversation. He's not even in the arena of, you know, what output has been coming out of hip-hop efforts.
I think you said something very important that I think people need to know. Okay, and this is for the people who think that we might be biased towards Eminem because he's white, or think that you're a racist, Mike, or think that M has a catalog that stacks up the game. M hasn't been really in the limelight and known for his quality of material since 2002, correct?
Correct.
Game
no.
when?
He's actually been in the limelight, but his music hasn't aged well.
I said for his music, as in for quality of music, as in the hip hop community is listening to the music and embracing the music as a whole. Because even if you don't love those albums, Mike, we on some sort of level really did embrace the first 3 albums. That's the Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers, and Eminem Show. Correct. Game comes out with the documentary in 2004 and has been making hit music ever since. That's 18 years worth of making music. People act like Game showed up like 10 years ago. It's like, no, Game is getting close to going on his second decade. Like, the documentary is a couple years away from celebrating its 20th anniversary. He's been here for a minute. Like, if you want to go down a list of a lot of his hit records, it's pretty long and very Rick Ross and T.I. like.
And I think that at the level that he's at for how long he's been doing it, he has all right to say that he's better than anybody. You know what I mean? Like, anybody out. Because, I think that if we look at the parameters, I know that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is giving Eminem 25 years in the game. But let's be real. Eminem came in the game in 99, right? Made his seminal effort in 2000. Game only comes a few years after that. So it's not like Game's out here talking about he's better than Slick Rick or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's talking about someone who is really in his peer group. And somebody in his peer group that hasn't made a great album. A great album with fanfare. Let's just say it that way, because honestly, I'm going to be real. Recovery is a good album. It's not a bad album. I wouldn't say it's great or anything like that. But any album with fanfare, he hasn't made one in 20 years. So yes, he's well beyond his right to say what he's saying. And my thing is, and what I said in the video, and what I'm going to say again, for all you Eminem fans who want to sit here and pull up whatever nigga said this and this about Eminem, or whatever top 10 nigga said this and this about Eminem, it's time to prove it. It's time to prove it. We don't need to hear what Rakim said about Eminem. I don't care what Kool G Rap thinks about Eminem, and I say this respectfully. I want to let the music talk. I'm tired of hearing about what this nigga said Eminem could do or what this person said Eminem could do. Prove it. And we got something like a Versus now, and this is a stage where people can play their music back to back. And we can prove it. And y'all always talking about people don't want to call Eminem out, and when somebody does, they clout chasing. Oh, okay, that's convenient.
So with that said, I think one of the things that happens in this debate for people who might be fans of Eminem, listen to what I'm about to say. I think they have Game a little misconstrued as an MC/rapper or whatever. And here's why.
They're scared.
No. Listen to what I'm about to say. I think for a lot of people who are familiar with Game, who are Eminem fans, they are only familiar with the rapper that they hear on the documentary. And that is not a fair assessment of the MC.
You're right. And that's exactly what it is, because the gentleman who called me a racist said people would only know 2 songs. That's obviously somebody who just heard the documentary. So correct. And so if you only know Game as a rapper on the documentary,
all you know is a guy who is capable of making hit records by himself and capable of making hit records with other people. He's not great as an MC on the documentary. But like he said, Mike, what's his favorite album that he made? Doctor's Advocate, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to
And
know
he's
why?
always been vocal about that.
No, Mike, I feel him on that. I still prefer Jesus Piece, but when I look back at it, Doctor's Advocate might be slightly better than Jesus Piece, and here's why. Much like Big did, it's been very rare that a rapper has had this much fanfare, sold this many records, had this much notoriety already, and gotten obviously better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously better. He's a supremely better rapper on Doctor's Advocate. Some of his best stuff and moments as a solo MC has in no other MCs on the track.
I agree.
Or literally on the record right after the documentary. And so it's like, if you're not following his career, as in if you jumped off the train when 50 disbanded him and when he stopped getting beats from Dr. Dre, well, what you missed was the evolution of one of the greatest MCs of all time, because he's dope on Doctor's Advocate as an MC. He's great on LAX, and he's pretty much, been some suspect albums here and there, Mike, but for the most part, like I said, catalog is very Rick Ross-like.
I think he's the most improved MC of all time. He's one of them. Him and Rick Ross too. Rick Ross is in that conversation as well.
Him, Rick Ross, Fat Joe is in that echelon of MCs where it's just like, man, they got Jeezy. Mm-hmm.
Let me get to the super chat real quick. Shout out to The Web 100. He said Jay in '97 was still playing second fiddle to Mace and Busta, let alone Nas and Big. That's a factual thing there, I must admit. And then we got LB216. He says subject matter would have received massive backlash. Oh, Eminem's subject matter would have received massive backlash if he were not white. What do y'all think? I totally agree. I think that let's close our eyes, right, and imagine any MC of the traditional hip hop culture, because I don't even want to use race, because they're gonna take that and blow it up, killing their baby mother on record. Oh, you would have so many people saying, oh, this person hates women. We got to protect our women, yada, yada. Or a MC of the culture dissing their mom and burying their mom. How well do you think that would go over?
I think it would go over to the same, okay, so.
It's never happened.
No. I mean, the closest thing, Cool G Rap has a record where he talks about abusing a woman. Okay. And the theme of the record is the abuse of the woman. Okay?
Okay.
And not too many people know that record. You want to know why?
They weren't going to put that out.
They weren't about to put that out, and the subject matter of the record was not well received, although it was Cool G Rap. This is somebody with way more credibility as an MC that Eminem is ever going to hope to have. And so that's what it would look like. It would look like a lot of these records wouldn't see the light of day, and only the real core fans would know, like me. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
KD says, what Eminem project in the last 15 years comes close to the documentary 2.5? I'll wait. I think that's a good assessment. And again, these are the things that are fueling what Game is saying. At this point, with the output that the Game has put out there, why should he bow to Eminem and say that he's not on Eminem's level? You know what I mean? And anybody who feels like he should is ill-informed of what's been going on. Or they just, like Game said, his response to Nori, and I'm quoting Game, he said, oh, you think I should just bow to the white man or something like that? You heard what he said on Drink Champs?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, because other than that, what are we talking about? Because Nori's first thing was, oh, you don't want it with Eminem. Why?
Says who?
Says who? At this point, man, all that shit, niggas gotta prove that. We've said that, and for the Eminem fans out there, we've said that about Jay-Z too. When Jay said no one could see him on that Versus stage, you got to prove that. We can't just sit here and be like, take everybody's word for, oh, nobody wants it with Eminem. Because from my vantage point, and I don't know if you guys were paying attention, MGK wanted it with Eminem, and he roasted him. Rap Devil is much better than Kill Shot. I listened to both records back to back again today just to make sure I wasn't tripping. And so if MGK wants it with Eminem, what makes you think Game is out of the range of this?
Very problematic.
You know, another person that they tried to tell to stay in their place when it came to Eminem was Nick Cannon. And my thing is, this man went out here and dissed this man's wife on record. How many of y'all are gonna sit here and let anybody diss your wife on record and just sit there and take that? See, that's the mentality we got here when it comes to Eminem. For whatever reason, people feel like you should just sit there and take that. And regardless of what people feel about Nick Cannon as an MC, as a man, no one is gonna sit there and let anybody disrespect their wife, period, let alone on record for the world to hear and do nothing about it. What are we talking about?
So,
P. White said, Coop getting the research.
So, I think, because I told you, Mike, this is my year of providing evidence. Like, people be out here committing crimes, talking all this, that, and the other. No, I like evidence. This is your evidence. I think that Game has enough records just on the documentary, Doctor's Advocate, LAX, and Jesus Piece, without even having to touch the records on 2 or 2.5 to fade Eminem. And I'm just going to throw Red Nation in off the Red album.
That we're back. Sorry about that, guys. I think the Interscope machine tried to shut us down real quick. You there, Coop?
Yeah, I'm right here.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
We're back. Somebody said Eminem had enough. Yeah, Eminem was like, yo, man, pull the plug on these guys.
More time. So just more time to tally up the evidence.
Okay, tallying up the evidence. So you were basically saying that you feel like the Game with Red Nation included and all of these albums has enough smoke for Eminem's catalog, period.
Yeah, like he wouldn't even necessarily have to go into the documentary or the documentary 2.5. This is what I'm saying. He could go through he could stay in the first 10 years of his career, is what I'm saying. So,
because I found it really interesting in this diatribe that was, I guess, this rant about me being racist. The records that he came up with, he said Eminem has at least 20 records that most people can name off top without me, which is not a really good record. Lose Yourself, which I do think is Eminem's best record. My Name Is, I don't think that's a really good record to play in the verses either. Stand Until I Collapse, on and on. Those 5 that were named, when it comes to Game, I think 3 out of those 5 alone are a loss.
Yeah. So,
like, straight up. Like, Without Me is not a good song. Like, this looks like a job for me, so everybody just ride with me. It's not going to play well in the verses.
No, this is going to play well.
We're going to put Red Nation up on that and put Red Nation up against Till I Collapse.
So that's what I'm saying. So where you want to go? So look, let's start with the documentary. He's got just on this album alone, and this isn't even Game the Great MC yet. It's got West Side Story, Hate It or Love It, Put You on the Game, How We Do, Dreams, Search for Thugs, Running, Like Father, Like Son, Don't Worry, Where I'm From with Nate Dogg. That's just the first album.
You know what? Let me be honest, and I'm just keeping it real. Lose Yourself is Eminem, in my opinion, one of his best songs, if not his best song. Dreams beats that.
Did you just look? I mean, listen to all the records that I just named. That's the first album, okay? Let's go.
Dreams beats Lose Yourself, people.
But did you listen to these records? Where I'm From with Nate Dogg, Don't Worry with Mary J. Blige, Like Father, Like Son with Busta Rhymes, Running with Tony Yayo, Church for Thugs, that's the Just Blaze track. Put You on the Game with Timberland. How We Do, Hate It or Love It with 50. Dreams and West Side Story. 50 on the Hook with West Side Story. Like, these are all, Mike, when you go to Cali, Mike, listen to what I'm saying. When you go to Cali, you'll hear all of these records on the radio.
Okay. Yeah. Keep going.
They'll play all these records on the radio in Cali.
That's just the first album. That's the first album.
Then you go to, second album, It's Okay, One Blood. Let's Ride, Storch joint. Wouldn't Get Far, the Kanye joint. Compton, the Will I Am joint. Scream On Her, my personal favorite, the Swiss Beat joint. The Bang joint. Around the World with Jamie Foxx. Why You Hate the Game with Nas. Cali Vacation with Exhibit and Corrupt.
Damn.
That's the first 2 albums, Mike. That's 20 right there. Where are we at? I didn't even count 1, 2.
Oh, Leroy Green says Game, Dope Boys. Shout out to Leroy Green. We believe believe that Leroy Green is Memphis Bleak. That's our hypothesis here.
First of all, Leroy, I was just talking about you. I'm gonna find you. And second of all, we haven't gotten to LAX yet. I have Dope Boys written down. Stop stealing my shine before I really start looking for you. You got it?
No, that wasn't Leroy. That was somebody else. Yeah, okay. Leroy, we need those Rock Nation, not Rock Nation passes, but the brunch. I think Leroy can get us in the brunch.
Little media pass.
Yeah. We need media passes to the Rock Nation brunch, Leroy. We need that.
Look, that's 19 records on the first 2 albums. Then you go to LAX. He's got Bulletproof Diaries with Raekwon. Letter to the King with Nas. Angel with Common. Game's Pain with Keisha Cole. Dope Boys with Travis Scott. My Life with Lil Wayne. California Sunshine with Bilal.
I forgot about My Life.
The House of Pain record, which is the hardest joint on there. We 25, 30 songs deep after 3 albums. This dude's dope. Like I said, and we can stop right there and just throw Red Nation in for fun. And those records are enough right there. We can pull from about those 25, 26, 27 records.
And you're not even getting into Jesus Piece. I was listening to Jesus Piece the other day, man. Dope.
Hold on, if we insert Jesus Piece in this, Mike, it's not fair. Can I interest you in some Ali Boumaier, Jesus Piece, Pray, Church, Name Me King, Hallelujah, Celebrate? No, it's not even fair. It's not fair.
Well, I want to get to some of Game's tweets. And so Game responded to people who acted like he wasn't on Eminem's level. This is what Game tweeted. Oh, nope, I went to the wrong tweet. He said, all this talk I see on the net saying Eminem is better than me because he sold more records. It's like saying McDonald's is better than Tam's Burgers. It's false. They just put more money in McDonald's and promote that shit and promote the shit out of the Happy Meal, dangling toys in kids' faces. I like it. And he had more to say. He said, fuck how many records he sold. You sold or I sold. That's just numbers on the paper. Some little award that ain't no bigger than my YMCA trophy. They only want you to believe in yourself to a certain extent. Soon as you start telling yourself you're better than their chosen one or challenge the machine, they start feeding the internet stats. Oh, like I give a fuck how many records the next man sold. Now, I think the stat that he's talking about is a stat that I don't understand. So I'm seeing this popping up everywhere after Game proclaimed this. This is from Rock the Bells. They said, another milestone for Marshall. The Record Industry Associate of America, RIAA, recently announced in a press release that the Detroit MC has received 73.5 million new gold and platinum program certifications, making him the most awarded musician for singles in RIAA history. Eminem also is only one of 7 artists in the genre or era with 3 or more Diamond Album Awards. I don't understand what that means, and I might be slow. I don't, listen, y'all know my background in radio and industry, and we've talked industry, politics, and economics with previous guests like Kwame or whatever. I thought one certification would be like, okay, my single is out, I went gold, that's 1 certification. Then platinum, that's 2 certifications, right? Double platinum, 3 certifications, and on and so forth, whatever, right? How many certifications can one single have, and how do you get to 73.4 million actual certifications? I don't understand it. Because let's just say one song, for whatever reason, in each country or whatever, somehow ended up getting 1,000 certifications. So you got 100 songs with 1,000 certifications. That's only 100,000. How do we get to this 73.5 million? I don't understand, man. Can you explain that to me?
No, actually, Mike, actually, what I was about to say is that I don't tell people this too often, Mike, but when I went to college and I took calculus, Mike, I didn't just get an A in calculus, Mike. I had a 97 average in calculus, and I have no idea what type of arithmetic these motherfuckers are doing. And I had a 97 in calculus, and that was what I was thinking the entirety of the time while you were talking, truthfully. I was like, I got a 97 in calculus. I have no idea what type of math that they're doing.
I've always been great in math as well.
Math at a fairly high level within the last decade of my. I don't know what that is. That might be what Game is talking about in the tweet.
Well, all right. So Gray 88 says 73 million. No, Gray 88 says 73 millions is singles sales plus album sales. They didn't say sales. They said certifications.
Certifications.
I mean, that's what the verbiage is saying. They didn't say 73 million in sales. They said certifications. That I don't understand.
Very problematic. Because hold on, one certification used to be 500,000 records sold, correct? That was your first
That's one certification, yeah, because you're certified gold, right?
Certified gold,
right?
500,000,
right? And people are spreading this news like they understand it, and I'm like, when I saw it, I was like, I'm not gonna spread this because I don't understand it.
Are there that many people on Earth? If you were to do that arithmetic, like you could do the arithmetic on that, apply a derivative to it, and I think there would still be like it would equate to more people actually being on Earth than the actual numbers dictate. Like, what in the fuck is that?
So I guess the best way to break this down, right? Because not every one of his songs, let's just say every one of his songs is certified whatever. Based on how many songs he actually has that have certifications, what's the average amount of certifications per song when we looking at 73.5 million?
How many million certifications did they say?
73.5. DeCarlo says, Mike, keep it real. Y'all just really want to say that Eminem ain't better than no black MC just to say this. Just say it. We're grown here. That's not what it's about. We're just putting everything in context. It's our job to put everything in context. We talk about Kendrick Lamar not putting out an album in 5 years. We talk about Andre 3000 not having any solo works outside of Outkast. We talk about even Jay-Z not really having a lot of great output in the 2000s without Kanye's involvement. But whenever we talk about Eminem, somehow this is about something other than music.
You know what I want to see now? I want to see death certificates, okay? Like Ice Cube's album, okay? Something's not right with them.
Well, I mean, it's interesting the Game is saying what he's saying. It sounds a lot, kind of valid. I mean, because it seems like these numbers are just created at this point. And, we used to be able to quantify, certain things. Like I was telling you offline. Back in the day, you go into anybody's house, they got the Thriller album. I remember in the 90s, you go into anybody's house, you see that Ready to Die CD. But when we're talking about the streaming era, there's really no way to quantify the validity of any of these numbers because it's not like you can walk in somewhere and see somebody streaming. Now, I do know this. In my walk of life, and maybe I'm out of touch or whatever, I don't know. I don't think I am. Nobody is playing Eminem records to that degree. And you guys got to ask yourself, when you go to hip-hop concerts, and there's a DJ out there opening up for the act or in the intermission or anything, playing their mix, how many Eminem records do you hear? Do you hear any DJs spinning Eminem records whenever you're going to your hip-hop concerts?
Don't nobody be hearing none of that.
Let me get to a super chat from Brian, man. He said, this was announced directly from the RIAA. Do you think that they're fabricating numbers? He has more gold and platinum single records than anyone ever. Do I think that they're fabricating numbers? Yes, they're part of the music industry, so I don't think that they would be above such. What are you talking about? They all work together.
Hold on. He was saying it. That's like saying, do you think the NCAA takes money under the table and misappropriates the funds? It's
right. Like,
What are
do
we
you
doing?
think
What
the
are we doing?
government passes bills to, never mind. I don't want to go there.
Hold on. Certification criteria. Damn, all that. I'm looking this up.
Go ahead, do the research.
Don't add up because the numbers say there aren't this many people on earth for him to get this many certifications based on what we believe the criteria that it actually takes for you to become actually registered and certified. So
How many people on earth do have that, have the streaming access? If we keep it real.
Yes, this is still about gold and platinum
So
certification.
going gold gives you one certification.
So how many billions of people have died then? Because he had 73 point.
So he went gold. Listen to this, guys. He went gold or platinum.
Do the numbers.
No. Listen to this. He went gold or platinum 73 million times. Come on, guys. Yeah. Is that what the news is? So I said, according to auditors. Listen, somebody has to do it.
Not going to the Rock Nation brunch. Not going to the aftermath luncheon.
Well, listen.
It's gonna be right here in the basement.
Listen, the game might invite us to whatever brunch he's going to.
You know how to count. This right here says gold and platinum awards are earned by artists who have met rigorous standards. The recipients join the ranks of the most iconic recording artists. This, you know what it says right above it? Certification criteria. Gold and platinum awards. Certification criteria. Audit requirements. According to audit? Yeah. Hold on. Audit requirements. Hold on.
No, hold on. Michael Tesseract says, I might have butchered your last name. He says, you might as well not believe that Kanye and Hov are billionaires. But no, I see people with title. I see people with Yeezys. I see people selling Yeezys. Like, you can kind of, you know what I mean? Like, you see the prices on Yeezys. You see the how many people are walking around with Yeezys. You see the what is it? Not the upsell. You know what I'm talking about? The off-market sale when people be buying them up. You see them lines. You see this stuff. We can't quantify these things. It's not the same thing, Michael. I'm sorry.
Hold on. We might have something right here in this. Each permanent digital album or physical album sale count as 1 unit for certification purposes. 10 permanent track downloads from the album count as 1 unit for certification purposes. 1,500 on-demand audio and or video streams from the album count as 1 unit for certification purposes. So it's in like your YouTube matters too.
Okay.
You get certified in it. So there we go.
So this is what we need to do. We need to put this in context. This is not the same as Michael Jackson Thriller certifications. No. This is not the same as Purple Rain certifications. No, they're actually cooking the books in a sense where they're counting. They're minimizing what certifications are by a big number.
Because people got to get paid, so
and people got to look good. So the fight's fixed.
Hold on, you want to talk about some economics now? Now I'm ready to talk about some economics now that we read this, because I can explain the economics of how music companies like to rape artists all through this whole breakdown changing. Want to talk about that? Yay.
Brian says, it's sad, y'all going out like Alex Jones. No, we're not, man.
Who's Alex Jones?
The numbers have changed. Alex Jones, a conspiracy theorist. Listen. I'm
reading the numbers live from the RIAA, and I don't know who Alex Jones is, nor do I give a damn. I'm reading the text right here.
Well, let me get to the game. I mean, we're just reacting to what the game says, and he speaks to this a little bit more in this tweet, and then we'll move on. He said, major labels are known for buying albums and paying off everyone to boost the sales of the artists that they choose to shine light on. If you ain't dancing for masses tune, you lose your budget, and the machine is taking your project and putting work on another artist that will be sucking, you know what. A lot of people, y'all have no idea what goes on behind closed doors at these labels. I've been front and center, and I've kept quiet about a lot of this shit, mainly because I didn't care about it enough to take time out of my life to open up that can of worms. But I'm tired of the lies and the bullshit and the propaganda they're throwing out here for fans to gobble up. Conspiracy, smear campaigns, and blackballing niggas been bouncing around the industry my entire career. I'm back outside, and I'm in this industry shit about to get shook the fuck up. Translation for those who don't know how major record companies do business: it's a machine designed to work the artists who play nice and Master's house, I was too unapologetically black and cut the puppet strings early in my career and decided to rebel. Sorry about that. That was a lot.
It was.
It was. Listen, I'm happy for Game and everything that he's bringing to light, and I think it's very interesting that that's his perspective, and the first person that he wants to challenge is Eminem. I think that says a lot. And then as soon as he puts this challenge out there, these numbers come out. So, coincidentally. Blue Collar Hustler says, Coop, I'm still traumatized you only gave Nas Legacy a 9.
Can we talk about
Fine God, brother. We're about to get to this other rating system, too. So we got like 200 people in here. We're about to get to the ratings. Miss Emile, shout out to Miss Emile, man. You be checking in the show a lot. She said RIAA is restricted to certification in the U.S. only, which makes it seem even more odd.
Hold on. You're telling me that's not worldwide?
Right. I thought it was worldwide. I guess not.
I retract my statement about making more sense, and I find it to be very problematic. I guess we Alex Jones or whoever. Whatever.
Rusty Nail says, Mike, do you have white friends? Yes, I do.
What kind of shit is that?
Y'all are wild, man.
Doing? Y'all wild.
Okay, let's get to you want to get to this rating system? We're like...
So can I...
Go ahead.
Okay, so... First of all, I want to say that, and I said this plenty of times in the comments, I'm going to see things Mike's way and y'all's way. We can give Nas a 10 for legacy, but stop acting like I'm not making viable points. I have a problem, Mike, and I'm serious. I have a problem with the way people jumped in the comments and ignored the other 14 categories and ignored the fact that he still rated the highest out of everybody who we rated, even with me giving him a 9 for legacy. This is what people talk about outside of his fan base when they talk about his fan base. Lacking objectivity, clarity, wanting everything about it to be perfect when it's not. The way that you all behaved on this page about me giving him a 9, like some of people literally jumping on here and saying, y'all losing credibility for real. People were cursing at me. People were calling me bozo. Like I got called.
Well, welcome to the club, man.
And no, and all jokes aside, y'all need to start having some more perspective about some things. And all I was offering some perspective from somebody who's been the main person coming on live the past 2 years and supporting him and showing how the media has like intentionally been keeping him
sabotaged him in many ways.
Right. Yeah. Like me and Mike have been the guys explaining the sabotage. That's how a lot of you all got here. So if I'm saying 9, maybe it's because I'm being objective and unbiased, and I need you to kind of get with me too. Like I'm gonna get with you on this one because it's like there are very valid points to be made about why his legacy should be a 10. I have some valid points too. You don't have to call me names, I promise.
I'm used to the names, man. Darnell Lee with the super chat, man. What up, Darnell Lee? He said, all the people crying for Eminem, we all know the game has a better body of work, and yet we sat through Fat Joe and Ja Rule's battle. Ugh. Yeah, that's a versus that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, that was unnecessary.
Okay. So the people that we are actually rating today are going to be Big Pun, Big L, Andre 3000, Mos Def, Redman, Busta Rhymes, Eminem, DMX, Cool G Rap, and LL Cool J. You ready?
Always.
Are y'all ready? Do you have my my list? Yours was kind of hard for me to read because I had to scroll all the way around.
Sorry. Apologize about that.
No, no, it's all good. We can kind of just do like last time, whatever, where I can kind of just put this one on the screen and you just tell me what you gave certain
Yeah, I see
things.
yours now. Yep.
Okay, cool. LL ended up getting a lot from me, and I didn't even realize it was going to be like that. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, it's L.
Yeah, man, his catalog is stupid. All right, I'm gonna see if I can make this bigger for people. All right,
Oh, while you're doing that, I'm going to remind people like we're doing this live and we want you all to participate so we can create like final tallies and totals. Like,
right,
what's
right.
cool about according to hip hop is that Mike has a perspective, I have a perspective, y'all have a perspective. We want the scores to be reflective of all the perspectives, not just Mike and I. Because,
Yeah,
Mike and
yeah.
I argue each other up and down all the time about different things. So,
Yeah, because we're actually, coming with a cumulative score, based on what you guys think and what we think and the debates and arguments that are made. And I'm gonna be real, I kind of just went through and was like, boom, boom, boom. So a lot of these things could really be changed. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's what I did too. I tried to do the like all of these ratings that I did them off instinct. That's why when I was giving Nas the 9 for Legacy, I'm thinking like, well, damn, there was like that whole Biggie and like Tupac like monster like totally overshadowing him while Illmatic came out like in the climate. There was the whole like Jay taking the reins thing. There was like Nostradamus. There was like a 5-year break. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like 9.
well, here we go. Let's go. All right. As it pertains to, let's see, Big Pun lyrics, I gave him an 8.
I don't know how you can do that.
You know why? Because I
Why?
thought most of it was delivery for Pun, for me. Now I could be wrong. Voice, I gave him an 8.
I got 10 for lyrics. I got 8 for voice as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got 10 for delivery.
So do I.
I got 8 for storytelling.
I got 7.
Okay. Catalog of albums, I gave him 6.
So did I.
Collaborations, I gave him 9.
So did I.
Longevity, I gave him 8.
7.
I'm sorry, longevity of records, I gave him 8.
I gave him 7.
Longevity of career, I gave him 6.
I gave him 5.
Okay. Battle tested, I gave him 7.
I thought we were talking competitive rap climate. Remember we were
I'm
changing
sorry.
that?
All right. Well, competitive rap climate. Shit. I need to change that up then. Okay. But I still say that would be a 7.
I gave him a 9 for that. Why would you say 7? Because I think that's our first real discrepancy, like real discrepancy.
Competitive rap climate. You're right. Let me just.
Because he had Cannabis and
You're
DMX
right.
and Cameron and Jada Kiss and Styles.
Okay. You're right.
On the
100%.
back end of Jay and Nas and Big.
Okay. You're right. Competitive rap climate for him is a 9. Legacy, I gave him a 10.
Legacy, I gave him an 8.
Really?
Yeah.
His legacy is big. You know what? His legacy is not where Big and Pox is.
No.
But his legacy is huge. And maybe I realized, like, going up to the BX and seeing the murals. And, like, he was one of the first MCs that I ever saw a mural of, like, live and in person. Like, again, maybe that's just my personal experience going up to New York not long after, his passing and just seeing how big that his legacy was up there. Not to mention, he's the first Puerto Rican in rap to really go to really make a mark. Period. Like Joe was, but he was like the first.
No, I get what you're saying.
Star.
That's funny because okay, how about this? Like we know Biggie's legacy is a 10 off of 2 albums. You're saying the same thing about Pun though, and I don't consider like Capital Punishment for as great as it is. It's no Ready to Die, and baby, it's a little bit of a disappointment in all honesty. So definitely like not even in the stratosphere of life after death. And so how can his legacy be a 10 when the catalog, with the brevity of the catalog and the fact that those albums that are there don't speak to it? That's why I gave him an 8. I can't go higher than 9.
Okay, I'm fine with 9. Everybody in the chat saying 9.
Can you meet me with 9? Yeah.
I can meet you at 9, and I see exactly what y'all talking about because again, if the legacy bar is like Biggie 10 and Pac 10 at legacy,
I am, yeah.
Yeah. I honestly gave Andre 3000 a 10 on Legacy too, I believe, because he's held
Hold on.
super high.
Well, right, he is, and we're gonna talk about because here's what I had to do too: is I had to do some Andre ratings based on Outcast mostly.
Yeah.
But that also hurt him in some things that I'm going to explain when we get to him because we're probably going to talk about him the most, unfortunately.
Him or Eminem.
So excited.
Yeah, he's on today too. Okay. So Legacy, I'm willing to change that to a 9. Live performance, I gave him an 8.
So did I.
Content, I gave him a 7.
I gave him an 8.
Intangibles, I gave him a 10.
Intangibles, I gave him a 9.
Okay. Hook game, I gave him a 9.
I gave him a 7. What you like about his hook game?
I like this hook game on came up with Nori. I'm
That's
sorry, that's Nori on the hook. I'm tripping. See, Nori, I did this super fast. Yeah. Okay, I'm wrong on that. I'm cool with the hook game being a 7.
Yeah, I think hook game's a 7. Nothing against him. He just wasn't the best hook writer in the world.
Yeah. I don't know why. Came to mind, and I'm like, nah, that's Nori. Yeah, all he did was the humming. Okay. Versatility, 9.
Me too.
Okay. All right. So my overall score upon is, based on this, and I'm going to have to change it, was 123, but it probably ends up being somewhere around there.
Well, yeah. We're going to make some changes.
We're going to make a lot of changes.
Yeah, and you and I talked about this. We're going to go back through these shows and go through the comments and look at the stuff that the people put down and match all of our stuff up, and that's where we're going to kind of get our scores from. So what the people say and are putting down right now matters.
Yeah, Donnell Lee said Mike needs to be muted for these pun ratings. I ill-advised with the hook game. I apologize for that.
No, it's not that bad.
It's been a very busy day. Okay, Big L. I gave him an 8 with lyrics.
I gave him a 9.
Okay. Voice, I gave him an 8 as well.
I gave him a 7. I didn't love L's voice.
I didn't love L's voice either.
I think his voice hurt him, actually.
Delivery, I gave him a 9.
Delivery, I gave him a 9 as well. Can we stop for a second? Because here's what I mean about L's voice right quick.
Mm-hmm.
He came out the same year as Nas as Big did. Those are 2 of the best rap voices ever and 2 of the best rap albums ever. So his
Didn't
voice...
Didn't he come out in 95?
Huh?
I thought Poor and Dangerous was 95 because he came out the same day Old Dirty came out. But I'm sure he had shit bubbling.
But that's what I mean. He's out making the rounds around the time they are.
Yeah.
And I felt like some reason why people didn't hear how nice he was as an MC was because his voice had nothing on their 2 voices specifically.
Sophia S. says, Mike, I'm from the Bronx and I forgive you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But no, I agree with you on that. And, Funk Flex famously was talking about how the One More Chance sample Big L had first, with that. I think it was the MVP remix or whatnot. So that DeBarge sample L had first and it was actually circulating. Big got it and the rest is history, And I think a lot of that is voice. Okay. And let's see, delivery. I gave him a 9.
Yeah, 9. That's where we were.
Okay, that's where we were. Okay. Storytelling, I gave him a 7.
So did I.
Catalog of albums, I gave him a 6.
So did I.
Collaborations, I gave him a 7.
So did I.
Longevity of records, I gave him a 7.
So did I.
Longevity of career, I gave him a 7, unfortunately.
I gave him a 5, but I think I need to go up on that because I was just thinking about how early he was on.
Yeah. Now, as far as MC competitive climate, I think that's still an 8.
I gave him a 10.
Okay.
Because like I said, he had to make the rounds with Biggie and Nas and Wu-Tang and all those guys. It doesn't get too much more competitive than that. I think that's one of the reasons why people forget about him. It's no, this is the dude that you first hear Murder Mace because of this guy. You first hear Killer Cam because of this guy. You first hear Jay-Z because of this guy. He's making the rounds. He's in a heavy competitive
climate. It's a very competitive climate. Okay. And not to mention, shout out to Faith Newman. She signed him to Columbia right after she signed Nas to Columbia. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of competition going on. Legacy, I gave him a 10.
Oh, did you?
I think
I gave him a 7. Explain. Because I don't think anybody really talks about L or
I think
talks like
people
they
talk
should at
about
least.
L a lot, and I think that he's one of the guys who we've kept his name alive, because, partly because of his untimely demise and the potential that he was about to show. I think his legacy might be one of the strongest parts of, what he was able to do. I think people are very understanding because we saw him trade
About the
bars with Jay-Z in his prime.
No, he's a better rapper than Jay-Z at that point when they're rapping next to each other. That's why I
And a
told
lot of
people it's
people
like,
say that. And I'm
no,
seeing people
Jay-
in the chat saying Legacy 10.
Legacy 10, really? So cool
Do
with
y'all
Pun.
think the Legacy is 10? Because I might be.
Because
It's a,
that's what I'm saying.
no,
So
people
look,
are saying ain't no way. Okay, let me ask the people real quick, and I'm gonna let you finish. What do y'all think his legacy is? Because Coop has a 7 and I have 10.
no, and and I'm okay with coming up off the 7. I didn't aware that people was in love with L like that. That's my objective. Like me personally, I would probably give him an 8 or a 9. But when I'm saying 10 legacy, I mean legacy to me is one of those like super important things. It's how you are remembered. And so, like, your legacy and the evidence to it, like, kind of needs to be there for it to be a 10. Like, the feeling and the work got to be there. That's why it's like, Rakim, oh, that's an easy 10.
Okay. And by that
So,
barometer, I'm okay with giving him an 8. But the fact that Big L's name has lingered on, and he only put out one album during his life, and that was in '95. I think that says a lot about his legacy.
Right. I can give him the same legacy as Pun. Like, I'm cool with the 9, but I'm not cool with the 10 because that's putting him where Rakim is.
Well,
where
see,
Biggie
with
is,
the 9, it's putting him where Nas is, right? So I'm cool with the
no,
8.
no, so that was the thing. I came up off of that based on what y'all were saying and saying, no. Well, we'll go ahead and put them right there, but understand how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at like how people looked at you in your prime, what the catalog of work looks like, and the memory of it. That's why when I was giving Nas a 9, I brought up that Pusha T line because it's like, well, that matters to your legacy when other great rappers are making those types of comments about where your career is.
What did you give Pun as an overall score? Because I want to go on your overall score. I think you're a little bit more on point than you're closer to what the people are saying than what I've been on some of these scores.
Hold on, what are we giving L for the legacy, right quick? While I tell
I
you
think
that.
I think we're gonna go with 8. I think 8 is what the people are kind of going with.
Okay, Pun, I got 10, 18, 28.
Oh, I thought you already had it added up. Don't worry about it. We can do that
later. No. I can do it. It's pretty quick. You can go to the next one though.
All right. So, legacy 8, right? We'll do that. Live performance, I had 7. Nothing really stood out.
Same here.
Content, I went 7. Now I might need to put that up higher.
No, I put content at a 7 too.
Intangibles, I gave him a 9 because we saw that in the freestyle.
Intangibles, I gave him a 7. Why do you say 9? My Pun score is 111.
Okay. Intangibles, giving him a 9. I mean, like I said, just that aura of him going out there freestyling. You know what? And that's another thing too. I had a friend, she was from Harlem, and she grew up watching L go on the block and freestyling, and people would be around. Like that aura and that street legend that he created for himself before getting on wax. Honestly, most of his aura is based on those things and not him on wax. You know what I mean? He's one of those people whose skill set has been showcased more off record than on record.
Hold on, Mike. I'm sorry to cut you short. Totally wrong. I miscounted one. Pun's got a 121.
Okay, I thought that was low. Okay.
Yeah, me too. I was like, something about that not right. Let me count again. 121.
But yeah, intangibles. Like I said, I hear these stories of Big L getting on the block in Harlem and spitting these rhymes, and people from miles around circling around him in these ciphers. And most of the stuff with Big L that we hear, the legend of him, is off wax, which makes things very interesting when it comes to him, because a lot of the times we look at things that were on wax. So
you know what's crazy is I remember when Ebonics dropped on vinyl, and that was big, and you felt like his moment was about to come. I mean, a lot of people don't know this. He was in talks to sign with Rockefeller when he died. Him and Jay were having discussions about him signing to Rockefeller. That was like live. That was like a real threat. And so imagine like a Rockefeller lineup that would have had him and Beanie Siegel at the top of it with Jay.
That would have been nice.
Ooh, that's three the hard way.
For real. But yes, someone in the chat said
I can go with you 9 on that. I can see all that. No, I'm with that.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. And after that, we got Hook Game. I gave him a 7 at that.
Me too.
Versatility, I gave him an 8.
So did I.
Okay. On to Andre 3000.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I think my scores on this one may be, man, they were more elevated than I thought they were going to be, but I think we might be in line on this one. I don't know.
No, I mean, we have to be fair with it. I just docked them where it was fair at, and I'm going to explain why. But go ahead.
Mark Wright said, I agree with Mike. Legacy 10, they worship him. That's what I've seen. And Mark's from the BX. Shout out to Mark out there, my man.
All right. I mean, hold on. But worship him where?
That's the thing. And somebody said that in the chat, too. He's a New York legend. And so if this was just based on New York, 10. But we got to think about everybody. So
right. So, I'm about to say, if they repping them like that in Uptown, they should. If the rest of like the boroughs are, probably should as an MC because his weight is like that. You know who he really is to me? Like, always thought him and AZ.
Yeah. He said the underground scene swears by Big L, as they do AZ. Can't wait till we get to him.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to Andre 3000.
Yeah.
Lyrics, I gave him a 10.
Yep.
Voice, I gave him a 9.
Voice, I gave him a 10.
And you know what? And the only reason why, because I had a 10 there and I took it off and went 9. And the only reason why I did that is because I don't like when he does that talking rap shit that he does. You know what I mean? Where it's like he's talking. And you know what I mean? But we talking about Andre's rap voice on like a Bombs Over Bad Dad or on a Red Velvet or something like that, where he's like, Don was the one who came in contact and those the slow crows who come to sell crack. When he's rapping like that, that's a 10. But when he's rapping like that talking rap shit that he does, I gave him a 9. Because he's been doing a lot of that as of the past 15 years.
9.5. I'll meet you in the middle.
Okay. I mean, I like I said, I had 10, so I ain't mad at that. Okay.
Okay, we can leave it at 10. But I get what you're saying.
Delivery's a 10.
I got his delivery at a 9, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because it kind of goes back to what you say. It's like, well, how much of that is a rap delivery, and how much of you is actually singing? Is your rap
it's the
delivery
consistency in the delivery. I see what you're saying. Once again, like what I said with the voice.
Right. That's what I was about to say.
That's versatility.
Going down on the voice because I'm like, well, delivery-wise, I'm about to go in to some of that sing-songy stuff about why I'm not giving them a 10. That's why I was like, no, I'm cool if we go down to 9 and 9.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's I think those two things. I think those two things balance each other out. Yeah.
Okay.
But they add to his versatility. Yeah.
True. Okay.
All right. So storytelling, I gave him a 9.
I gave him an 8. Not enough evidence to give him a 9 or a 10.
The evidence that we do have. Great story.
The evidence we have is great. It's brief.
So Jordan House says, y'all got to peep that December remix. I remember that December remix. When I went and looked for it, it's like 5 years old. I checked it out. Yeah.
Hold on. Because I want you to understand something. Like for me, and I'll just tell people, and Mike, and you know, like we kind of run everything through each other. I came up with this second 10 list. Like you came up with the first 10 pretty much. And I came up with the second 10 pretty much. And I intentionally put him right here after Big L and Big Pun and before Most Def, because you can't talk about the brevity of Pun and L and Most and then give him high marks when there's not enough evidence for those guys, and those guys are in his stratosphere. So that's why I gave him an 8 for storytelling, because he has more evidence than Pun and L, which is why I gave them 7s and gave him an 8, but not much more, not to the level of 9.
Someone in the chat said I knew exactly what they were going to say. A Day in the Life of Andre 3000.
Right, but that's one record. That's not enough evidence to give him a 9 or a 10.
The Art of Storytelling.
No, that's part of why he has an 8. Specifically, those 2 records.
So what you're saying is, when he does tell a story, it's at 10 level. He just doesn't have enough
How,
stories.
how many does he have? What name the other stories that you can think of?
Okay, I'm going through the albums in my
Go through the
head right
catalog.
now. So, what are the stories on Southern Playalistic? Are
I think
there?
the story on Get Up, Get Out, that's
Y'all
a
telling me
story.
that I need to get out and vote? I don't think that's really a
Right,
story.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's kind of story-ish. Claiming True. Is that a story?
I don't think so.
Hootie Who? Hootie Who's a story?
It is. Yeah,
Hootie Who?
yeah. Hootie Who is a story.
Yeah,
It's a
Hootie Who.
pretty dope one too.
No, it's pretty
Um,
great. Hootie Who.
and I'm just saying on
On AT Aliens,
ATLians,
where's the story? What's the story? You get what
got
I'm
stopped
saying?
at the mall the other day. Heard a call from the other way.
That's a story.
That's a
We can
story.
call that a story. But that's what I'm saying. You see how brief it is? We got one on one album on the first album. We got one on the second album. We got one on the third album.
Well, I think the art of storytelling too. He probably told more stories on the Kumina.
No,
Twice upon a time, there was a boy who died but lived happily ever after.
it's
That's
not really
another
a
chapter.
story.
It's not really a story.
More intro. It's
Introspective
literally-
stuff.
It's an
Yeah.
introspective diatribe about the Black experience.
Okay. Shout out to Ray Rim to the super chat. Let me get to this and we'll get back to the list. Ray Rim says the list is it's an arduous undertaking. I agree. It would be harder to make an inarguable hip hop Hall of Fame list. You two brothers would most be suited to do it. Yes, I appreciate it. We're doing it together. When it comes to the group here, everybody's putting together this grand old list. All right, I'm with you on the 8 because it's just not enough evidence, and I think you made a really good point. Rosa Parks is a story. He did his best storytelling on Akumanai. But again, that's why Akumanai is held so high, in my opinion. That is his best performance, and it's one of the best performances from anybody on an album.
But almost all his great stories are on the coming out. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's about 3 or 4 stories. Because think about it, Mamacita's a story too.
It is.
No, he's great on there.
Paragraph and dent, I'm making 10 cents. Niggas on that Gil Scott, that's introspective, but he's painting pictures on Akumanai.
No, that's y'all scared that you're talking
No,
about.
I'm just going to a whole nother one.
Right,
and
right.
Spodioti is a story.
Right. No, so he's there, but it's like if
I don't know, man. I mean,
listen.
Akumanai alone is making the argument, but I feel what you're saying.
No, it's not. Because here's what I'm about to tell you. Now tally up all those verses and tell me how many songs worth of storytelling we have. And I'm going to tell you why he has an 8. Because if you tally those verses up, it's only about 2 or 3 songs worth of stories. Now,
Spody is a great story.
how many verses is it? Hold on. Let's go ahead and break it down. He's got 2 verses on Hootie Who, right?
Yeah.
That 1 verse on Elevator. So
only one of those Hootie Who verses is a story, though.
So he's got 2 verses so far between 2 albums that are storytelling. Then we get to Aquemini. Okay? How many verses on Aquemini are storytelling verses?
We're really gonna do this, huh? Okay.
Yeah, we are, because
I guess we got to do this. Rosa
you do.
Parks.
This is what this
Honestly, the common denominator, the nigga numerator, never know who the hate the niggas cater to your ego. I'm sorry, like I said. Now that doesn't become a story into the end.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
halfway through the Skewed on the Barbie verse is a story.
Rosa Parks is a story.
Rosa
Skewed on the
Parks
Barbie
is a
versus
story.
him being introspective and putting it together in story format halfway into the rhyme scheme.
Okay. Aquemini, you're not gonna take that as a story.
It's not.
Then we're going to
story.
Synthesizer is not a story. He took breaks on West Savannah Slump, so we got the art of storytelling. And then we got the art of storytelling too, which is a story. Mamacita's a story. Spody's a story, and that's it.
So that's how many
5.
verses? That's 5?
5 stories on Akumanai.
But
Great
no,
stories.
that's 5.
though.
No. That's 5 verses in story format.
Okay.
And on.
I see what you're doing here.
You get what I'm saying?
International Players Anthem.
Okay, Okay, so right now we're at 7 storytelling verses. International Players Anthem makes 8. He's got 8 storytelling verses, and y'all want to give him a 9 or a 10? Now, is that fair to the other people in the stories? And think about all the stories Ghostface has told, and tell me that that's fair to give him a 9 or a 10.
On verses, yeah, you're right. I mean, I agree with you.
All of these verses, hold on, are the verses a 10? Oh yeah, is the work there? Oh no, not for a 10 or a 9. Because how can we? Because how can we not give it to Pun or L or
Tomanet
Mo?
says exactly what you. Well, he said, "How does Big L a 7 for stories, and Andre is an 8, at
No,
least a
no, 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 no,
9."
no.
So I would go at least a 9.
No, no, no. L has whole stories on his solo album and on his posthumous project, and actually has storytelling ability. Like life is like a dice game. Comes to hold on, no. What is it?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. No. L's a storyteller.
Yeah. Jay Short says, "Shout out to Big Boy." Yes, shout out to the great Big Boy. All right, we got some more, and we're gonna get Big Boy on here too. Let's not.
And
We're
it's an
not
8.
forgetting
It's
him.
not like we're pissing on him. He got an 8 for storytelling. Like let's see the people so far that got more than an 8 for storytelling. J. Cole, Conway, Kendrick, Nas. Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Hold on.
I think he's a better storyteller. He just doesn't have enough.
Right. Rakim and KRS-One got an 8 for storytelling.
Okay.
Hold on. Did Andre make Mahogany or Love's Gonna Get You?
Well, that's a fact, because Love's Gonna Get You is great. All right.
Silencio.
Okay. Let's go to catalog of albums. I gave him an 8.
Nope, I gave him a 5. Because his catalog with his group is a 10.
That's that's the thing.
His solo MC catalog is a 0. And so if you put those two together, you have a 5. Because how can we give his catalog of albums an 8? His catalog of albums?
I see what you did. You gave Outkast a 10, and then you
Outkast
cut that in half because he has 0.
5.
Well, he has had, and the people in the chat are saying you're bugging, but the truth of the matter is, he is half of Outkast. And if Outkast is a 10, and
no, Big Boy gets an 8. No, Big Boy gets an 8 because Big Boy has solo albums and the Outkast material. He has Outkast material. Show me the solo rap material that y'all are talking about.
Let's do the math here. They want me to mute you, but let's do the math here. Look,
okay.
Outkast is a 10.
Outkast is a 10.
Outkast is a 10. There's 2 members in Outkast, right? You divide that 10 by 2, you got 5. Then we're gonna add in the solo stuff, which is 0. 0 plus 5 is 0.
Can we talk about why there's no solo stuff though? Like, what are y'all ranking? Because hold on, because if you're ranking, because
you're not gonna give him at least 1 point for the life and the day in the life of Andre 3000.
Kick rocks.
And what about for the features? No, man, come on, we got to at least do 7. What about international players anthem? So okay, let's just say the Outkast gives him a 5.
Collaborations is right after that. You're talking about collaborations, which actually I gave him a 10 for. But that catalog of albums, he's getting the 5.
Oh yeah, because those aren't his albums. So we're not gonna count Love Below as
Does he have? Hold on. How many solo rap albums has he made? I want all the people who muted me to tell me how many solo rap albums he's made. I'll wait. Okay. Now that we've got that over with, everything that we're talking about in his catalog is attached to somebody else, and I'm starting to realize the other person wrote most of the hits. Want to start? Let's start. Me and you, your mama and your cousin too, rolling down the strip on Vogues, coming up slamming Cadillac doors. Does that sound like Andre or does that sound like Big Boy?
The rap roundtable's in the building. They said give him a 6.5.
Let's keep going. No, let's keep going. Aha, hush that fuss. Everybody move to the back of the bus. Do you want to bump and slump with us? We the type of people make the club get crunk. Does that sound like Big Boy or does that sound like Andre? I'm not done yet. Do you like fish and grits and all the pimp shit? Does that sound like Andre or does that sound like Big Boy when y'all are out here rating these Outkast albums? I'm not giving this. I'm so sick of this mother.
Okay, all right.
What rap roundtable say 6.5? That's fine. 6.5.
6.5. Let's settle with a 6.5.
Oh, a nigga with no rap solo
No
material.
solo material.
No. I want you to understand. We're handing out 6.5 for niggas without any solo rap albums. Okay, next.
For a catalog of albums. You know what? Listen. I love 3000. He was my favorite rapper growing up, but we have to understand everybody on this list has a solo rap album. So he kind of does have to get the business for not having that.
Hold on. Matter of fact, when you said that, I'm taking that 0.5 off.
Yeah, I'm okay with the 5, to be honest, because everybody on this list
has a solo album, right? 5.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Because he's gonna get high marks in other places. So
it's so problematic. That's why I'm saying no 5.
Yeah. Because there's not a single person that we're about to document. Maybe Lauren, and she might get the same, whatever. But she got rap songs. He has no solo album, and he will be the only person on this list, Coop, that does not have a single song where it's just him and 3 verses.
Because Lauryn Hill has that.
She does. She has a few of those.
Hour, yeah. Or doo-wop. Or how about that whole Fade Lost Ones?
Yeah.
I don't even know. How about this? I'll be talking about The World Is Yours and One More Chance, and I'll be there for you in Mahogany. We don't know if he can make a Lost Ones.
We don't know.
Yeah,
5. And that's only because Outkast catalog is a 10.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. Wow, that was fun. Collaborations. I gave him a 9.
I gave him a 10.
Okay.
When has he not destroyed it?
You know what? The reason why I went 9 is because of how selective he is with his collaborations.
Who's being picky now?
I'm just saying. Because you have situations where Big Boy, he'll just jump in. He jumped in and made that song with Slick Rick. Slick Rick clearly thought that both of them were going to be on the record, but they weren't.
Slick Rick and Outkast is on this.
Yeah. Big Boy like, yo, just give me the mic, man. I'm going to go in and do my thing. He didn't show up on, at least Big Boy showed up on Goody Mob's World Party on Get Rich to This.
Don't give me a reason to dock a mic. We're going down to 9. Next.
I'm just saying.
I'm cool with that. It's not like he raps enough for us to defend him. Right. Next.
Longevity of records, I gave him an 8.
I gave him a 9 because it's Outkast.
Because it's Outkast,
yeah. The records, yeah.
Well, we've talked about this before, and in relationship with Tribe, I just feel like when I listen to Tribe's records, they've aged better than Outkast records. And that's just me talking. Like, I just feel like that. But I'm not mad at the 9.
Q-Tip is more of a specialist in your classic traditional hip-hop boom bap, even though jazz influence. So it's going to tend to hold up over time, a la Illmatic, a la the infamous, a la the Low End Theory. Like there's a boom bap quality to it that for hip-hop aesthetics holds up well. Okay. Outkast hip-hop is more of an interpretation of it, and probably the most wonderfully done one, but not built on the same core aesthetics. ATLian is the closest thing to it.
I give you 9 on that. Longevity of career, I gave him a 7.
Gave him a 6.
I'm not mad at that.
Shouldn't be. You don't be rapping.
Competitive environment, or that has to be 9 or 10.
I gave him a 10.
Okay. Because I went 7 because I'm still on the battle tested thing, but that's
I give him a 10 on competitive rap time. Yeah.
Legacy, I give him a 10.
I gave him an 8. Because his legacy can't be a 10 without what?
This is the thing, Coop.
Solo.
His legacy, for whatever reason, as an individual, and I could go on a whole diatribe about this, has superseded the brand of Outkast, has it not? If you ask,
superseded the actual work.
I agree, but we look. You dock Nas for what people say in the media. When you look at the media, they talk about Andre 3000 like he's an individual act. If you ask people on a massive level, would they rather hear a new Andre 3000 album or a new Outkast album? People would say Andre 3000. Unfortunately.
Mike, you're right. They talk about him as if he's had Nas's solo career.
Yeah. And, Rap Roundtable says what I was going to say. It said the legacy is kind of overrated by the culture. His legacy is overrated. That's why it's a 10, I think.
It's
His
very
legacy is
what we
strong.
do here. But it's not right though.
Doesn't mean that Nas wasn't right either.
And I corrected it and put a 10 down.
Darnell Lee says, Mike, we need that Cass versus Tribe versus. I got Cass. I think we did that in one of our earlier shows. We can update that. I still got the list.
I'm about to say, I would probably want to redo it now.
Yeah. We should do
Did I
that.
take Outkast?
You took Outkast and I took Tribe.
So problematic now.
Yeah.
So what are we doing with this legacy thing? Back to 9?
Okay, I'll back down to 9, even though I think his legacy is. They follow this man around where he's playing the flute and the clarinet in airports, man. Like,
this is the hardest 10 to give. No, we got to give him a 10. It's just so.
It's just what it is. Like,
I earned that though.
And it's one of the things that we're mad about when the fact that Big Boy comes out with stuff and there's so many things that because of his aura that he can help get behind, but he doesn't.
I just like men who go to work about their job. That's all.
Okay.
I just like people who go to work. You know.
Live performance, I gave him a 9.
Gave him a 7.
What? No. Are you giving him a 7 because he doesn't stand on? Ooh. Okay. All right.
Right.
With Outkast, it's that 9.
Right.
But you're right. He does pull the stage fright thing.
Mm-hmm. And when's the last time you actually seen him perform like anything solo from his one solo R&B album?
Well, I will add some context to that too. He refused to tour for The Love Below. Big Boy and he missed out on a whole lot of money because he didn't want to perform. Remember that? They were going to give them $100,000 each. This is way back in the day. He declined the tour.
A show. 100,000.
One show.
Yeah.
So we could go up there and do something that we would do for free back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a 7.
Yeah.
Jay Short with the super chat, he says, keep it a buck. Eminem was the first to separate Outkast until I collapsed. That is interesting. He was one of the first to separate them.
Very insightful.
Very insightful.
I like that.
I would love to blame Eminem for it as well. Yeah, whatever.
It's very problematic.
Okay, content, I gave him a 10. Intangibles, I gave him a 10.
Hold on, content, you gave him a 10?
Yeah.
I gave him a 9.
His lyrical content's on point.
It is, but once again, how much of that content belonged to him and how much of that he piggybacked off of? I feel like most of that is piggybacked, so I took a point off for it because I feel like the content that you're talking about, I feel like most of it belongs to Big Boy because I hear Big Boy now.
I don't know.
I can't give him a 10 for content.
I feel like, and I will say this.
Their biggest hits are Big Boy. Think about this. Miss Jackson, So Fresh, So Clean, Rosa Parks, Southern Playalistic, AT Aliens, Elevators. Those all sound like Big Boy records now that Andre jumped on and rapped on.
But that's fine. But one thing I will give Andre, and especially in the songs that you mentioned, he took those concepts and took them somewhere else with his individual verse. Like what he did with Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks could have been something else, you know what I mean? But he took those themes somewhere else, just like he did with International Players Anthem. He took that theme and he took it somewhere else.
You want to know what he does? He takes whole hoedowns and he makes them thoughtful and introspective. Thought Process, International Players Anthem, Aquemini, Rosa Parks, that's great. But he's not the author of the idea, so 9.
He is the author of his idea on there.
That's beautiful, because somebody got to feed him some ideas to get him to want to rap, is my point. So we're not giving him a 10.
I think you're being unfair on this one.
Hold on. Mike, all jokes aside. That's like me coming up here and wanting to get a 10 rating for the content that according to hip hop creates when actually you're the main creator of all the content. I participate in the content in terms of some behind the scenes contributions that you may ask for, top 5s in this show. But the creator of the content is you. So if we were rating us in this, you would get a 10 for content. I would get like an 8 or a 9. And that is what is about to happen to this motherfucker.
But if you were to take that content and take it somewhere else on a whole nother creative level, you got to get props for that. I mean,
No. My content here is a 10, but the contribution of it, because a lot of it is a spinoff of your ideas, and sometimes it's my ideas. Sometimes it's connected to other people. Sometimes it's connected to something we're trying to do, like with this list. No.
well, let me ask you
don't
this.
deserve it. I don't
Is the
deserve it.
Love Below just not in the conversation?
Is he rapping on there?
He rapped on there
We're talking
3
about
times.
rap, right?
He
How
rapped on
many
there 3
verses do
times.
we have on there? How many verses are on there?
He has 3 rap verses on there.
Okay, so he has a rap song worth of lyrics on there. That's great. Next.
The punishment.
No, honesty. Like, I'm so sorry.
Intangibles is a 10.
Intangibles is a 10.
Hook game is a 9.
I gave him 8.
I think his hook
I
game
can
is
see
pretty
9.
strong.
I can give you 9. I can say 9 on the hook game. I can see that. His hook game is really strong.
Versatility, I gave him a 10.
I gave him an 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is his versatility at 8?
Because part of versatility is the ability to write different types of songs. So let's go back to, I don't know, Rakim, somebody who can write something like Lyrics of Fury, but still write something like Mahogany. You get what I'm saying? We don't know if he has that type of versatility as an MC to make like a classic record for women, but make a classic street lyrical record as well. We do not know if he can do that on a solo mission.
Well, we don't know if he can do anything on a solo mission, but what I will say for what Outkast has done in their career, anybody that's able to get on a Get Up, Get Out, and then get on a Bonds Over Bad Dad, and get on a Benz or a Beamer, or Extraterrestrial from ATLians,
Right.
they got some versatility.
Can you ride the bicycle by yourself, though?
You're killing him with this, man. I think there's only a few categories that we can kill him on for not being solo. I don't think versatility is one of them.
How do you know how versatile he is on the mic?
Now, this one thing I will say. Now, if your argument was the type of production from like hip hop peers, whether it be like Ninth Wonder, Kanye, or Dr. Dre, or DJ Quick, or Premier, we've never heard him on those kind of tracks, I can get with that. If we want to knock his versatility on that, but as far as the versatility for their catalog, that's hard to argue.
No. The versatility for what he's shown. This is the problem with him. We keep having to confine him to their catalog.
It's very difficult.
We don't have to do this with anybody else.
Nobody.
You understand that?
Yeah, everybody else has solo material.
Hold on. We don't have to do this with Eminem, Mike.
Yeah, no, you're right.
We don't have to do this. Hold on. We don't have to do this with artists who are no longer living and no longer here. This is absurd.
What did you give him again?
For versatility, I gave him an 8.
All right.
Because hold on. Because also too, Mike, you just said it yourself. You think the Tribe records age better than the Outkast records?
I do.
How you giving him a 10 for versatility? We don't know if he can do solo rap songs. The music didn't age as well in your estimation.
That's fair.
I'll meet you in the middle. We'll say 9.
That's generous of you. But I see what you're saying though. I mean, because again, he has issues that won't apply to anybody else, and it makes it very difficult.
And I say all this to say, you understand how ridiculously high he's about to score, even with all these drawbacks. Which is why when people talk about him, though, I get why they talk about him. You're talking about the person that should probably be the greatest MC of all time. But guess
in a vacuum.
Yeah, in a vacuum. Yeah, kind of like I always tell people, if you're walking out onto a football field and you're the quarterback and you see Jerry Rice and Randy Moss standing next to each other and you pick Jerry Rice, that's fine. I'm about to whoop your ass that day. I'm about to smoke you. I'm throwing that ball to Randy about 10 times. He's going to catch about 3 of those and put 21 points on y'all just off that. We don't know if Jerry's going to do that. Randy going to do that because the talent is there. You get what I'm saying? And that's who he is, kind of. Except for, like, he's worse than Randy ever was or could imagine.
It's hard to compare him to anybody.
Because Randy Black Ass would show up on Sunday and play some football and catch some touchdowns. Yeah, he would. He'd show up on Sunday. He might party Thursday, Friday, Saturday, say F you, not show up for practice. He might not try hard.
They killing you in the chat right now, man. I thought it was going to be me this episode.
No.
And you know what? It's crazy because, about a year and a half ago, I was the one dumping down on Andre. I've calmed down.
What you say. I don't care what you say. I'm going to say this again for everybody coming down on me. show me these solo rap songs and show me that you know what you're talking about.
He is the only MC that
Because if you
we
keep on bringing up
consider.
Outkast songs, I'm gonna keep on like doing this shit and showing you. Well, those aren't his records now, are they?
He's the only MC that we consider top tier that does not have a single song in his 27-year career with 3 verses with just him by himself. It's just the truth.
Hey, let me ask you something too. For as great as Outkast is Outkast the author of one of the 50 greatest rap songs of all time?
I think.
And if so, which song would it be? Because I guarantee you, any song that you're going to name, Big Boy's probably the author of. Do you see where I'm going
I think that their greatest record is 2 of them, right? That would be in that conversation. If one would want to put Bombs Over Baghdad in that conversation, I'm okay with that. And Elevators would be another one.
Mm-hmm. It's Elevators, probably. How that hook go again?
That sounds more Big Boy influence, to be honest.
Yeah.
It is Big Boy on the hook. It's him and Sleepy Brown.
Yeah. Guess what? Because every day I sit while my nigga be in school thinking about the second album at the dungeon shooting pool. Big Boy was coming up with the concepts for most of those records. He's letting you know on ATLians.
Y'all think that Miss Jackson's a top 50 hip hop record? I don't think so. But maybe that's just me. That was one of the few.
So Clean is better than Miss Jackson. How y'all gonna say that? I was actually gonna go with Elevators or So Fresh, So Clean. But both of those are Big Boy records, really. That Andre
So Fresh, So Clean's not a top 50 all time, and I love that record.
That's what I'm saying. I would say Elevators.
People say, what about Rosa Parks? And I saw Rosa Parks on one of those lists. But my thing about Rosa Parks is it's not even one of my 10 favorite songs on that album.
But it is one of their bigger singles. But once again, go listen to that hook. Who started that song off? Because that's how you can sometimes tell.
Hook-wise, that's Big Boy, yeah.
Oh, we keep finding that out about all their biggest hits, don't they? But one guy keeps getting all the credit. One guy apparently is coming up with the concepts, the hooks, and rapping his ass off as well. But we keep giving all the other guy all the high marks about everything.
Interesting. Let's move on because we got a few things to get to.
Yeah, where them solo rap songs at again in his next?
Most Def. Lyrics, I gave him a 10.
I gave him a 10 too, 10, 20.
Voice, I gave him a 9.
Me too.
Delivery, I gave him a 10.
Me too.
Storytelling, I gave him a 9.
So did I.
Catalog of albums, I gave him a 7.
Hold on. Let's back up for a second. Because have you heard Miss Fat Booty before? That's a hit record in story format that we don't know if anybody the likes of somebody like, I don't know, an Andre 3000 can create. Next, 9.
Yeah, 9 storytelling. Catalog of albums, I gave him a 7.
So did I.
Collaborations, I gave him an 8.
So did I.
Okay. Longevity of records, I gave it an 8.
So did I.
Longevity of career, I gave it a 7.
So did I.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm in battle tested mode, but this is competitive environment. I still give him an 8.
Really? Why? Because I gave it a 10 because he's the one that kind of helped bring the cipher back.
Yeah, okay. I'm fine with that. I'm not even going to fight that because you're right. And I'm sitting here thinking about that round table where Cannabis was there. And
On DMX.
Yeah. He was there for all of that.
He's there for all that. Yeah.
Not to mention trading bars with Talib and all that stuff. Okay. Legacy, I gave that an 8.
Me too.
It's like we know him. We should know him more than this.
Right.
Live performance, I gave him an 8.
I gave him a 9 for live performance.
Okay, I'm fine with that too. Because they really get the party hype. He's that quintessential hip-hop B-boy MC. Content, I gave him a 10.
I gave him a 9 again.
Intangibles, I gave him a 9.
I gave him an 8 for intangibles because I think some of the things he does are so obvious, it's blatant. Like I look at him like in the same way I kind of look at a Nas, like he's so talented that it's like it's not intangible. It's like no, it's talent that you can see and it's all over the place. So that's why I gave him an 8 instead of a 9.
Hook game, I gave him an 8.
Hook game, I gave him a 6 actually. I don't think he's that great with hooks.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. What you think his best hook is? Where's his memorable hooks at?
Top priority. Peace before everything. God before anything. real before everything. I don't know, man. He's got some hooks.
You know what? I might be being a little shady with that. We can go up. Hold on. Where'd you have him at for hooks?
I had him at an 8.
Can you meet me in the middle? Go 7?
I'll do more research to bring to the argument because we have so much here, and yeah, we'll do 7 for now. But I think that can rise.
Give us more research on the hook game. More research on the hook game.
Okay. Versatility, I gave him an 8.
I gave him a 9 for versatility.
Okay.
I think he can do it all. Damn near, he just didn't do it enough. That's the only reason I didn't give him a 10.
You weren't that harsh on most for, as Rap Roundtable said in the chat, for getting the Hollywood bag and dipping.
Huh. He made solo material before he got his Hollywood bag and dipped, and then he came back and made more solo material. And he's got group material.
Traveling Man, that's a good hook. Traveling Man, Mr. Nigga, yeah. Yeah, because most can sing with you, you know what I'm saying? Even what he did on Respiration.
8, you're right.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
You know what, man? Looking back at it and going through these categories, this nigga's complete as fuck.
He is. No.
This dude is complete as hell, man.
So when they're like, why are you not giving Mos Def a hard time? It's like, have you heard Black on Both Sides? Have you heard Black on Both Sides? There's all types of evidence of his greatness on there. And so is there on the New Danger and some of the subsequent projects and the Black Star project. And you can hear him popping up on different albums, like on multiple Common albums or Roots albums, and seeing how great this guy is, because even when he was going to get his Hollywood bag, he still stayed in a rap sphere in some sort of way and stayed active. There's material, there's evidence.
Life is Real was my shit too. And I ain't even really like the New Danger like that.
Right. He's got Miss Fat Booty. That's an all-time great story and hip hop record rolled into one.
I strike the Empire back.
You know, yeah.
Fuck the Empire. High flying like the Millennium Falcon. Flying to my hand solo. I never go for dolo. Frontin' on me's a no-no. I'm trying to make $1 out of what makes sense. Added up to my daddy got be a rich man. Who never gonna know when your fate will switch hand? Get today's solid ground out of yesterday's quicksand. Woo! Great MC.
Great MC.
Okay.
Great MC.
Redman. Lyrics a 10.
Yep.
Voice a 9.
I got voice 8.
Okay. I'm thinking Muddy Waters, Redman, but I feel you. Delivery a 9.
I got 8.
Storytelling 8.
I got 8.
Catalogs of albums, I got 10.
You got 10?
Yeah, I'm thinking about those first 4, then I'm thinking about Blackout, then I'm thinking about Death Squad.
I didn't think about the Meth and Red and Death Squad stuff. You might be right, Mike.
Yeah.
Blackout. Hold on. The El Nino album with Death Squad, that was a brilliant album nobody talked about.
Yeah.
Cuz play El Nino all the time. You want to know what? I'm with you. I'm going to go 10 on Red's catalog.
Storytelling, I actually gave Red.
I thought we said 8. We both said 8.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I went backwards. Okay. Collaborations, I gave him a 9.
I gave him a 10. He made How High.
I'm fine with that. Because I'm thinking about everything that he's done, totality. Even him jumping on Buck 50, you know, jumping on the song with, like, you know, Christina Aguilera. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Longevity of records, I gave him 8.
I gave him a 7.
You don't think his records age well?
I don't think people play his records. That has a lot to do with the longevity. How many times do you hear a Redman joint get played?
I'm fine with that. Oh, somebody brought up Umi Says when we're talking about Mos Def's hooks. Yeah, man.
That's one of my favorite songs ever and my favorite Mos Def song.
Yeah, Mos Def hook game is up there.
That's why I said his hook game might be like a 10, a 9, or a 10.
When we think about it, like for real. The Brooklyn song.
Actually,
like,
you want to know, we're going back to 10. His hook game's a 10, actually.
Yeah, Mos Def's hook game is pretty crazy when we think about it. What a complete MC, man. On the low. Very, very sneakily complete.
No, it's not on the low. This is a guy who, had he been active and like really been about it, was going to be in a top 10 MC all-time conversation. No.
I think that he, in my personal opinion, he's probably the most naturally gifted MC I've ever heard. Like where when he raps, it sounds like he's talking, man. The shit's just natural. Nothing seems like he's trying. Even the
Right.
way he jumped in and out of that Kanye song on College Dropout, 2 words. My favorite Kanye song. He jumped in, out, gave the black fist, and ran off.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa. 2 words, United States. Okay.
Redman.
Redman, longevity of career. That's where I gave him a 10.
Yes, 10.
Okay, and I'm fine with you saying 7 on the records.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, competitive climate. That's got to be a 9 or 10.
I gave him a 9 because here's why. He was coming along when that first era of great MCs were on the tail end of their run, but right before Biggie and Pac and Nas and all of them showed up. He's in that transitional phase a little bit. So it's great, but it's not all-time great right there, and that's why I gave him a 9. Because you got to think, when he's coming out with What the Album, he's being looked at like as one of the leaders of the new school in terms of like rhyme style, cadence scheme. He's bringing something fresh and something new.
You're right. It's right before all that stuff was about to happen. We're talking 92.
Yeah, 91, 92. Yeah.
Okay. Live performance, I gave him a 10.
Yeah.
Content, I gave him a 7.
So did I.
Intangibles, I gave him an 8.
I gave him a 9 for intangibles.
I'm fine with that. Hook game, I gave him an 8.
I gave him a 7. I don't think his hook game's great. I think it's good. It's not great.
I liked his hook on that Diddy song.
Yeah. How about this? I think the hooks are probably the weakest part of his game. Actually.
Wow the fuck out. What about the goodness?
I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. Look at the catalog, though. It's like most of the great songs aren't attached to great hooks. It's him that you remember on the verses and stuff. I mean, it's not the saying he can't write great hooks. I'm just saying I don't think he's a great hook writer. It is the weakest part of his MC game, in my estimation. It's actually the only part of his game, in my estimation, like really, it's really like not above average, actually.
Versatility, I got 8.
I got 8 for that too. That's what I'm saying. Like for me, the only thing he struggled with was subject matter and hooks. Because I don't think the subject matter ever really changed or diversified or got deeper. And I never thought his hook game was super strong. Everything else, he is a superior MC.
Gotcha. I ain't mad at that. Busta Rhymes, man, I had fun doing this one. I enjoyed this one.
It was interesting.
Lyrics, I gave him a 9. Voice, I gave him a 10.
I gave him an 8.5, and I gave him a 9 for his voice, because which voice are you talking about?
All of the voices are great.
I don't even know why I gave him a 9 for voice, now that I'm thinking about it.
His voice, he does things vocally, though, all jokes aside, that nobody can do. Nobody could give you that victory hook. Nobody.
No, you're right.
Nobody could give you that Wild for the Night hook.
No, I get it.
Nobody.
No. Wild for the Night, yeah.
Wild for the Night is sick.
Right.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody get a whole song stolen from them just based on the hook. Rampage didn't even have to say anything. Okay.
It didn't even matter what he was saying.
Delivery, I give him a 10.
Me too.
Storytelling, I gave him a 7.
Me too.
Catalog of albums, I actually gave him a 9.
I gave him an 8.
Okay. Collaborations, 10.
10.
Longevity of records, 10.
I gave him a 9 for longevity of records.
You know what? I was debating that, you know what I'm saying? And then I thought about put your hands where my eyes could see and how timeless that is. I thought about Pastor Cavassier and how timeless that is. I thought about Wu Hai and how timeless that is.
You really like Pastor Cavassier, don't you? I don't think it's that timeless.
I think whenever it comes on, it takes people to a place. But I feel you. I mean, it's not a perfect record. It's not like his best.
You think his records, longevity of them's a 10 though? I was kind of...
Longevity, I could go with 9. I debated it, with myself. Ray Rims with a super chat. I want to recognize the super chat. So he said, when you're on the verge of a major move in life, hear Auditorium by Mos Def and Slick Rick. I love that record. Are there 10 better rappers than Yasin Bey in music history? I mean, just straight up ability, it's tough to say.
Straight up and down, not 10, no. But overall, yes. Yeah.
Damn, what happened to my card, yo? Sorry, guys. All right, there we go. We're getting some malfunctioning going. We are live and all that. Okay, so where were we at? Busta Rhymes, longevity of records. I'm cool with that being a 9. Longevity of career, I said 10.
Yeah, it's 10.
Competitive,
Rap climate. Yeah.
rap climate. I had 8 because I was talking battle tested, but competitive rap climate, I'm cool with keeping that 8.
I was thinking 8, 9 because he's around the Redman time too.
Yeah, he is.
Mm-hmm.
But he stood out during that time too.
He did. Both of them did.
Yeah.
Those are actually the two guys that stood out from that era when they came out the most, probably.
Definitely. Legacy, 8.
Legacy. I got 9 for Legacy.
I feel like even in this versus conversation, he's getting ignored. You know what I mean?
No, I think people are really scared, and they should be.
I think that's the fear is real.
Better be.
Okay. I think his legacy's high.
Yeah, his records are he's one of the few artists whose legacy I have so high, and it is attached to the records and the magnitude of the records. He is a problem.
Woo-ha. Okay.
Got your one check.
Live performance, I gave him a 10.
I think that's pretty easy.
Yeah, that's like the barometer. Like that's where the 10 starts.
Yeah, KRS-One, Busta Rhymes. Yeah.
Content, I gave him an 8.
So did I.
Intangibles, I gave him an 8.
I gave him a 10 for intangibles.
I'm fine with that because he can do, like I said, he can do things that others just can't do.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that. Hook game, 10.
Yep.
Versatility, 10.
Yep. So you know
Busta Rhymes had a very high score.
Right? Huh?
Busta Rhymes had a very high score.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, he probably has the highest score next to Jay-Z and Nas so far.
I gave LL a very high score. We're gonna get to that.
I think Busta. Well, I don't know. We're about to see. See, this is the thing about it. It's gonna be funny. Like, yeah.
All right, Eminem, y'all ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. Lyrics, I gave him an 8.
I gave him a 9.
Okay. Voice, I gave him a 6.
I gave him a 7.
Delivery, I gave him an 8.
So did I.
Storytelling, I gave him a 10.
I gave him a 9.
I think he's a great storyteller. Catalog of albums, I gave him a 7.
Me too.
Collaborations, I gave him an 8.
So did I.
Okay. Longevity of records, I gave him a 7.
I gave him a 5. What records?
It's a good question.
Okay.
The records that he's made that have lasted the longest that are actually his, I would say Lose Yourself, but we can include Forgot About Jay. Yeah, it's very, very light. Okay. I'm fine with that 5. Because his records did not age well.
No.
Okay. So, longevity of career, I'm giving that a 9.
I'm giving that an 8, but that's only because although very long career, a lot of sneaky breaks if you're paying attention.
That's true. It's true. Competitive rap climate, I gave him a 9 for that.
So did I.
Legacy, 10.
7.
Why are you giving Eminem a 7 for Legacy?
Because it's shrouded in so many things. And the material's not there. Why you say 10?
I think that I say 10 because of how high he is held. He's definitely held higher than he should be. But I will say this. There's a lot of people who don't feel that way anymore. And his legacy, I feel like over the past 2-3 years, has taken a bit of a hit. Since people have realized that his material's not what people say it is.
Very problematic. You want to meet me in the middle at 8.5?
I see a lot of people saying 7.
Right.
LP says 10. See, Legacy 9. I don't know, man.
We're
We'll
gonna
go
have
with
to tally
8.
up what people say and decide in the middle somewhere.
The real Leonard Jackson said, I'm sorry, Jackson. Leonard
Leonard
Washington
Washington.
says legacy is a 9 due to how high he is held. Yes, people saying 10 easy. Huh.
We'll go 8.5. I'll meet you in the middle, and we'll
Okay,
let the people decide the rest.
that's cool. That's cool. All
Leonard,
right.
Leonard, I'm looking for you right after I find Leroy. Just want to let you know. All right.
Hey, these names are awesome.
I'll be seeing
Content,
you, Leonard. I see you too.
content. We got 8.
Content. I got 5. What do you mean content? You got 8. The content's the problem.
You think that well, he does have lyrical content. I don't think content is his problem.
Content is subject matter though, but you're talking about like killing your baby mother and the drug abuse, and then you're all that, and then you talk about all the technical rap stuff and all the dami lama la da 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 and all the. You're the one that talks about all that stuff. That's the content and the subject matter coming into question. That's where the problem is.
Well, I guess I'm trying to give him credit for songs like White America, Lose Yourself, Superman's not real content heavy, Soldier, Till I Collapse. Trying to give him credit for Stan.
We'll go 7, I guess.
Okay, all right,
We can do that.
all right. I don't want to be a racist, you know. Intangibles, I gave him a 9.
I gave him an 8. Why am I ranking him harder than you are? How is this happening?
Hook game, I gave him a 8.
How? I gave him a 6. What are you doing?
Ah. Listen, I just don't want to be a racist.
I'm a hard grader.
You are. You are. But you know what? I think that 6 is justified. Like I said, I just went through our chart and was just going off of instinct.
What hooks do he have that people like? Like that's what I'm saying.
Nowadays,
like,
everybody want to talk like they got
like,
something to say. When nothing comes out when he moved the lips, just a bunch of gibberish and motherfuckers act like they forgot about Dre.
But that's it. That and lose yourself. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'll meet you in the middle again and go 7.
LB216 says the stands got Mike D scared. Terrified, man. I'm trying to give him a decent rating. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're racist, Coop. All right, versatility, 7.
I gave him a 6 for that too.
Damn, he got a bad grade. What grade did you give him overall?
I don't know. I didn't tally any of these up because I thought we might be arguing and switching some stuff up live. But based on the conversation we just had, he's getting a ooh.
Bob T says Coop is killing Slim Shady. Leroy Green said, we both must be racist, Mike.
Leroy, I'm looking for your ass. I'll find you too. I know who you are, Leroy. I'll find you.
We need some brunch tickets. Grand Wizard Mike and Coop Bayless.
Who said that?
The casual.
It didn't go well. It got about a 106 out of.
Oh man, that's one of the lowest scores I've seen. All right, let's get through this. Let's get through this. I know it's getting late for people.
But we're gonna let the people decide some of this too. So it's like y'all love
Yeah,
him like
definitely.
This is your opportunity to show how much you love him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
DMX, lyrics. Excuse me. I gave him an 8.
So did I.
Voice, I gave him a 10.
Yep.
Delivery, I gave him a 10.
I gave him a 9, but that's only because the delivery fell off on the back end of his career.
Okay, that's fair actually. Storytelling, I gave him a 9. I thought he was an underrated storyteller.
I gave him a 10. I think he's the most underrated storyteller ever.
I think he is. He's a great storyteller.
Great storyteller.
Catalog of albums, I gave him an 8.
I gave him a 9.
Okay. Collaborations, I gave him an 8.
I gave him a 9.
Longevity of records, I gave him an 8.
Gave him a 9.
Longevity of career, I gave him an 8.
Gave him a 9.
Competitive rap environment, that's going to go up because this was battle tested for me. I'm going to say 10.
I gave him a 9 for that, but that's just because it's broken up. Like, he actually came around. Well, no, you probably have to say, 9. No, I'm going to say 9.
Okay.
9-ish, 9, 10-ish.
Legacy, I say 10.
Legacy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I got Legacy at 10.
Live performance, I got 10.
That's a 10.
Content, I got 10.
Content, I got 9. Some of
Int-
the content, sometimes.
yeah. Okay. Intangibles, I got 10.
Yep.
Hook game, I got 9.
I got 10 on Hook Game.
Okay, I'm fine with that. His hook game was great.
Was.
Versatility, 9.
I got 10 on Versatility too. This is a dude that did like what? How's it going down and stop being greedy or right next to each other on It's Dark and Hell
Yo,
Is
man,
Hot.
he scored really good on this though.
Because he's great. He's well rounded as they come.
Incredible MC.
Incredible MC.
Cool G Rap.
Yes, sir.
9 lyrics.
I got 10.
Okay. Voice, 8.
I got 9.
Delivery, 10.
Yes, sir.
Storytelling, 10.
I got 9 for storytelling.
Catalog of albums, 8.
Yep.
Collaborations, 9.
I got 7.
Okay. That's
Why'd you
fair.
say 9?
I gave him 9 because, I remember him collaborating with the era after him in ways that people in his era didn't, like from the Mobb Deeps to, even the song with him and Prodigy that was on the Funk Flex. It's like
You want to know what?
he's able to seamlessly do some things that people in his era weren't able to do.
You want to know? I didn't look at it like that. I knocked him because I'm like, well, you didn't collaborate with anybody in your era outside the symphony, really. But you just said something really strong. I'm with you on the 9 because of that. Because he did work with Nas, work with Mobb Deep. He even worked with Conway. So like, he's actually gone a couple of generations past working and collaborating. So yeah.
Okay. Let's get back to this. Okay. Longevity of records. I gave it 9.
I gave it 7 just because people don't know the records or play the records. Kind of like with the Redman thing.
Cause I'm thinking about I'm fine with that but he wasn't that kind of artist. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, but
Yes.
for the records that he did make, like I think they had legs. Like the records that caught on.
No, okay,
So
I can see
8?
that. 8. Yeah, that's what I say. I can see you. We'll go 8.
Cause we weren't going to Cool G Rap for like a party starter or anything.
Right.
Okay. Longevity of career, that's a 9.
I gave him 10.
I'm not mad at that. I'm looking at that and thinking about the stuff I just said. That might be a 10. Competitive rap climate, that's a 10.
That's a 10.
Legacy, I say 10, but if you say 9, I'm fine with anything lower.
Actually, originally I said 8 actually because he doesn't get remembered the way that he should, but he is still who he is, so it should be at least a 9. But I can't give him a 10.
Live performance, 8.
Yep.
Content, 8.
I gave him a 7 because some of the content matter is just so it's like okay, G. Oof.
Okay.
Yeah.
Intangibles, 9.
I gave him 10 for intangibles.
Okay. Hook game, 8.
Gave him 6. I didn't think he was a great hook writer. I thought he did a lot of like that chant, like old school back and forth hook stuff. I'm not a big fan of that. I can meet you in the middle with a 7, but
okay,
yeah.
Let's go 7 on that. Versatility, I gave him a 9.
I gave him a 6, but that's because I didn't think he was that versatile.
Whew. Okay. And
So
see, again, I
think
think in my mind,
versatility.
I'm thinking the versatility, I'm giving him props for transcending through eras.
Ooh, but did he transcend through eras, or did the eras just catch up to him and pay homage?
Well, he was able to adapt. Well, I guess you don't feel like it's adapting because
He didn't have to adapt to anything.
Yeah.
They just gravitated towards what he was always talking about first. So it was just easy to insert him back into the climate. It's easy for Nas to insert him. That's where you get your shit from. Easy for Prodigy, Conway to insert him.
But for him
Correct.
to be that consistent, even to collaborate with them on such a high level, I think is versatile. But
I'll give it an 8. I can see that. Might have been a little hard on G on the versatility.
okay. Now, this is the last one that we did for the day. Appreciate y'all sticking with us, all 183 of you. We appreciate that. LL Cool J.
Okay.
Now, he for me, he fared very well in these categories. So,
Let's see what you got.
lyrics, I gave him an 8.
So did I.
Voice, I gave him a 10. I think he has one of the more underrated voices in hip hop.
I gave him a 10 for voice too.
Delivery, I gave him a 10. He has a bunch of different deliveries, and his first delivery from I Need a Beat was transcending.
I gave him a 9, but when you say it like that, he's transcended his flow a few times, and so that's 10 type of work.
I mean, delivery, you're looking at a delivery from Mama Said Knock You Out, The Damage, to I Need Love, where he's slowing it down. Like, he was the first rapper to really show you could do those things, folks.
No, delivery-wise. I'm with you on that. I can take him up to 10 on delivery, because he came up with different deliveries over time.
Yep. Storytelling, I gave him an 8.
I gave him a 9.
Okay. And that was one of the lower scores I gave him, actually. Catalog of albums, I gave him a 10.
I gave him a 9 because the catalog is there, but the albums aren't as great as they should be.
I'm okay with that. I understand where you're coming from with that, because I think that's one of the reasons why he isn't the undisputed GOAT in many circles.
Right. Well, here's the thing about it. Does he have a top 25 rap album?
It's an interesting conversation.
That's why he's not in the GOAT.
I think Bad is the closest, but yeah, you know.
Right. Bad is the closest, and that specifically right here is why he's not in the GOAT conversation more often, because he doesn't have that piece of work that we can stand next to Illmatic or Reasonable Doubt or Doggy Style or Paid in Full. He doesn't have that.
I gave him a 10 on collaborations.
I gave him a 9 on collaborations, but if you want to go 10 with that, I'm okay. He's great at working well with others.
Yeah, in every era.
In every era, yeah.
Longevity of records, 10.
10.
Probably the strongest 10 you're going to get.
Him and Biggie and Pac probably got the strongest 10s on longevity.
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real.
That's real.
Longevity of career, 10.
10.
Competitive rap climate, 10. Legacy, 10. Live performance, 10.
I gave him 8 for live performance.
Really? I don't know, bro. You ever seen the Fresh Fest? You see, I don't know, man. Like the jumping around, his breath control was crazy. Have you seen him perform what's the Breakthrough, where he's going like 100 something bar, like 92 bars in. LL Cool J, the batters around.
We're not going 10 because he doesn't have the impact of a KRS-One or a DMX on stage. He doesn't. Those are 10 performers. He's not a 10 performer. We can go 9.
9? Okay. If you want to put it there, yes, he's not Busta.
He's not Busta X or KRS. No, he's
KRS.
not that. Yeah, he's not that. No.
Not too far though.
No, not too far. We'll give him that. 9. It's fair.
Content, I gave him a 7.
I gave him an 8.
Huh? Why?
I mean, L's content has always been diverse, even if it's never been in depth.
Okay.
He does a great job of like just covering your regular hood topics.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and let's see. Intangibles, 9.
I gave him an 8.
Hook game, I gave him a 9.
I gave him a 7. That was the lowest score I gave him was for the hook game.
You don't like the Mama Said Knock You Out hook?
I mean, I do. I think he just comes from an era where they weren't taught the right hooks until later on in their career, and it shows.
You ain't like doing it?
Like I said, later on in their career, you're talking about 90 and 95. He came out in 85. Hook game, 7.
I Need Love is pretty much an instrumental. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking that he has strong hooks on his song.
Was I'm That Type of Guy great hook?
No, it's not.
Okay, next, 7.
Versatility, 10.
10.
Yeah. Okay, we got to find a way to put these up here where people can actually, vote on it, and we can get people's feedback so we can get these numbers corrected. I know you were taking notes and you were writing some things down, so for this 10, we'll go off of your list and your rating, and kind of do some adjustments there.
Right. I was about to say, we can really what we can do is you and me can go through your list and my list and put our list up and then have the people start voting, like literally, like on,
Yeah.
and that's how we'll do the tallies and all the corrections for the first 20, and we'll do that for every 20 pack of MCs, so people will start seeing. Because here's the thing that I want to do, is that I want to line it up so we can go ahead and rate all these guys 1 to 22, so you already know where they're falling, like in this first set of order of rankings and how it kind of falls. And that's why we picked some really, really strong guys, but we didn't pick all the strong guys. It's like, but we got a lot out of here, so we got our barometers. Because I tell you what, just judging from the look of it off the top of my head, Rakim, KRS-One, Nas, Jay-Z, LL Cool J, DMX, and Busta Rhymes are definitely probably going to be in your top 10.
Okay. Yeah,
just based on the ratings, all things being considered, based on what I'm seeing. LL, DMX, Busta, Rakim, J, Nas, KRS. Yeah, it's looking that way. Yeah.
Well, that was fun. I don't think we missed anything. And we're going to see you guys Friday, because Benny the Butcher is about to drop Tana Talk 4. We're going to have a whole lot more content. And I'm sure we're going to go through the comment section and address some of these ratings as well. I'm sure I'm going to get cursed out by Eminem fans for my earlier diatribe, but whatever.
Looking for Leroy Green and Leonard Washington out here. He will too.
So, you think there's somebody else? You don't think that they're actually who they say they are?
They're going to buy a YouTube handle, Leroy Green. Somebody out here being
Leroy
funny.
Green might be the game or something.
Leroy Green, Leonard Washington. These dudes is funny.
All right, well, we're going to see y'all Friday. Appreciate y'all tuning in and, just conversing with us and helping us with this list. We're going to continue to develop it, and I'm looking forward to hearing Tana Talk 4 and talking about it.
Can't wait.
Yes, sir.